Well,
I'd like to call the Adams County Board of Supervisors meeting to order.
They done played together, they know each
Sheriff,
other.
could you lead us in the pledge? And Mr. Radford, could you lead us in the prayer, please?
Let us stand. Dearly Father, we thank you, God, for allowing us to see another year, God. And Father, we just ask right now, God, that you look over our next leaders. Father, continue to keep them from any hurt, harm, or any day. Father, we just want to pray, oh God, for this county, oh God, and this state, oh God, this country, oh God. And Father, we just want to ask, oh God, as this Omicron virus is spreading, oh God, that continue to keep us safe, oh God. Continue to give your leaders wisdom and guidance, oh God, to get us through this pandemic. And Father, we just pray for our nurses, our doctors. And Father, we pray for our school teachers, our children that's going back to school this morning. Father, continue to protect them, oh God. Father, we pray for our finances, oh God. Father, we just ask, oh God, that blessing comes upon this county financially, oh God. And blessings just continue to overflow us, oh God, in the name of Jesus. Father, we just pray for strength. We pray for peace. And we pray for the families that may have lost loved ones on last year, God. And Father, we just ask, oh God, that you continue to bless each and every one of us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this point, I will open the floor for nominations for President of the Adams County Board of Supervisors for a term of 1 year.
I'd like to make a nomination for Wes Middleton since the Vice President.
Second.
Take a vote on the motion.
And open nominations.
You can take it first.
Do we need to close the floor for nominations at this point, or do we need to go just take the vote?
It'd be a good idea.
Okay. All right, can we get a motion to close the floor for nominations for president for a term of 1 year?
So moved. Second.
Let's take a vote on the motion to close the floor.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
You don't make a motion, what? Don't you vote?
Yes. Okay, the motion to close the floor carries. We need to take a vote on the motion for the nomination of Wes Middleton for president for a term of 1 year.
So moved.
We just need to take the vote. We already had the motion.
Oh.
That was the vote.
Okay.
Let's do the motion.
And now we open the floor for nominations for vice president of the Adams County Board of Supervisors for a term of 1 year.
One game.
Second.
And that was Gray, Hutchins. Okay. And we just need to hold that motion, Scott, and then close the floor? Okay, we need a second motion to close the floor for nominations for vice president.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we need to go back and take a vote on the motion for the nomination for Warren Gaines, supervisor, as vice president for a term of 1 year.
So moved.
Okay? You take the vote for that, please. Okay. And so, by unanimous vote, we have President Wes Middleton for a term of 1 year and Vice President Warren Gaines, and I will turn the meeting over to President Middleton.
I'll take your seat.
Come on.
Your season has come.
You bring your plaque.
First of all, I want to thank the board for allowing me the opportunity to serve as president for the next year. Angela, answer your phone. We'll be calling for help.
Here it goes.
Sabrina, is that you?
This is Sabrina, I'm on the call.
Okay, we're gonna put you on mute now, okay?
All right.
All right. Brian, I want you to put your phone on mute. I'm not gonna mute you, then you couldn't hear. Okay?
Already had,
Thanks.
got it.
Okay, next, we are going to declare clerk and sheriff present, and board may begin. All right. I need someone to make a motion to adopt the minutes for December's meeting.
So move.
A motion by Supervisor Gaines.
Okay. Go ahead.
That's it.
Second.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Hutchins. All opposed?
I got some unread minutes. I gave it to, Scott about, comment that Supervisor Wilson made. I think it's kind of, wasn't right. So did you let him read what you
I'm
said?
gonna give him as well as the rest of y'all
Okay, and another,
a motion to clarify, because there was a dissension on the board on that docket claim, but the minutes weren't quite right. So we got proposed correction for you.
and another thing, when the sheriff department, hired somebody at $12 an hour, they had 26,208 for the sheriff department. Juvenile detention hired somebody for $12 an hour, it was 24,960. So the 24,960 is what it's supposed to be for both of them?
No, if it's $12 on the hour, that's wrong, it should have been $12.60. That's how the 26 come up. So if it's $12, we don't have anybody that works at the sheriff's office at $12 an hour.
Okay, 12.
It should have been $12.60 though. I don't have anybody that works at the sheriff's office at $12 an hour.
Well,
I was thinking the starting pay was like $12.
No. The sheriff's office in Rio has always been like $12.60. And then, you know.
The pay order should have that, not the pay order, that sheet should have it correct, whatever that is.
I'm just going by what the minutes said. Both of them
This is
had,
the 6 minutes you're talking about?
Yeah.
both of them had $12, but one of them had 24,960, and the other one had 26,208. So
I think what we did,
That's fine.
the sheet did say 1260 when we did it, approved it at first, and then we went back because we said that the starting pay was 12, and they went back and changed it. But the sheriff it should be, his starting salary is 1260, right?
Yes.
That's probably what it should have been.
I like
I
that.
think the sheriff department is a little different from, and, you know, yeah, so it really should be 1260.
I guess we probably just gonna have to get, maybe, because it's like there's some kind of confusion between the raises and whatever. Because even though we gave 5% raises to employees, we didn't change the starting pays. The starting pay do not start at what the raises were. Because you're bringing everybody in at a raise, at a 5% raise, when that's not how people come in as.
I'm
Now, I'm
talking
not
about the
sure.
60%, the 60 cents is a 5%, is that what you're saying?
I'm gonna look it up because
I think he just said this is his starting pay, not the 5%. Am I correct, Sheriff?
Even the ones I have in my hand, I got $12.60 on.
the start,
But what
Okay,
was your
okay.
starting pay before the 5%?
It's been $12.60, that's everything, that's every time I come over
Yeah.
and ask.
Yeah, okay.
It's been $12.60
Yeah.
every time I come over and ask for the jail.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that sheet says needs to be what it, because that one was approved. So, and we'll get it straight if that's not the accurate number. We'll contact the book.
I think Supervisor Hutchins said it right, the sheet said 1260, we changed it to $12, and it's supposed to be $12.60. But the only thing I'm saying, the minutes had both of them at $12, but one was 26,208, and the other one was 24,960. So that's probably why I was like that. And, only thing else with the minutes, I read what the NAACP came in here and said, I just want that, attachment to be a part of the minutes.
Does that motion need to be changed to reflect it?
Do you want to correct the minutes, approve, make a motion to add those to the minutes, Mr. Gray?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines to amend the
Motion
minutes.
to approve the minutes. Now, you have the amended motion to approve the minutes. We need to take a vote on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No. All right, I'm sorry. I'm approve it.
Motion passes unanimously. At this time, I'm gonna need a motion to appoint a board attorney to approve this contract for 1-year term.
So moved.
Second.
Who do you move?
So moved.
That's good.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any on readiness? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Need a motion to appoint county engineer for 1-year term.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Gaines to appoint IMS for a 1-year term. Any on readiness? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. At this point, I'm going to ask county administrator to appoint purchasing clerk for a 1-year term.
You got appoint county administrator.
That one doesn't have an annual renewal.
Yes, it does.
We can do that, though.
Yes, it does. We've always did.
All right, we need a motion to appoint the county administrator for a 1-year term. Who made the motion?
All three of us the same.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Sandy Kingsman appointed for a 1-year term. At this time, I'm gonna ask county administrator to appoint purchase clerk for a 1-year term.
The way that purchasing, inventory,
Oh, I got it.
receiving, she appoints and we have to ratify it like the, kind of like the president appoints the Supreme Court judge.
I would like to request approve to rehire purchasing clerk Nancy Bear for 1 year.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any on readiness? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Ms. Francis Bell is appointed for a 1-year term.
I'd like to, board approval to reappoint inventory clerk Corvette Magneto for another 1-year term.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Gaines to appoint Corvette McNeil for a 1-year term. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Receiving.
I would like the board approval to reappoint the senior clerk Claudia White for 1-year term.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Gaines to appoint Ms. White, the inventory clerk, or excuse me, receiving clerk. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. All right, all appointments have been taken care of. Next on the agenda is the affidavits for the 4-year road plan.
First, we're gonna approve the dockets.
Okay. Need a motion to approve the dockets.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray,
Second.
second by Supervisor Wilson. Any on readiness?
I just need, for clarification purposes, for Ms. Brandy to explain to us. Scott, did you tell us?
That's the DHS. No, I did not. The
Oh, yeah.
DHS payments and
Yes.
training.
Yeah, we, DHS got behind on our payments and then we were not getting them reconciled over to Chancery monthly. We've gotten that corrected. This is actually for about a, year and a half of our DHS payments that we get from the state. That's why it's such a large amount.
they got inadvertently put into the general fund.
Yeah.
Is that right, Angie?
We normally, it goes into the general fund anyway, and they, the county is supposed to cut the check to the what you didn't cut. So,
I just need some clarification.
Yeah.
I've seen all them
I know.
big numbers on there.
Yep. We're all square now, though.
All right.
All right, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Now we need the motion to approve the affidavits for 4-year road plan.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any unreadiness?
I'm ready. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would actually wait till next week, because I'm not quite through riding yet. I'm not ready. I mean, I wrote something
That's fine.
to find. What you said.
Okay,
Then we put it off for next week.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
We better withdraw the motion.
Who made the motion?
Me?
You want to withdraw?
Withdraw.
The motion has been withdrawn, but Supervisor did.
Only question and concern I have, what are we gonna do about the narrows? Cause I know I haven't been down there.
I'm gonna try to get there. They said it, one part is loaded back out, they were redoing it or whatever, but, I know they said Jackson Point, the hunt club is going in, but they haven't fixed to get in, so you know what I'm saying, having a hard time to get in, but I will ride down there this week and look at it, and like I said, I'll have mine, once y'all get through riding, if y'all give me, then I'll present the 4-year road plan at the next board meeting.
Let me know when you're riding down there, cause I might wanna,
Okay.
I do
to
too.
ride or trail you or
Okay.
something, cause I need to see what's going on.
Okay.
Bring a chain.
Okay.
Next, I need a motion to approve the minutes for December meeting.
Y'all finished with drawing that one?
Yes.
We need to go down to the book and monthly finance report.
I need to make a motion to approve the Adams County Sheriff's Office monthly financial report. Can we do both of those at the same time?
Yeah.
All right, motion to approve the Adams County Sheriff's Office and Chancery Clerk's financial report.
So moved. Second.
So, we got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any unreadiness? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda, city government business, if any. Believe we have anything? Departmental reports. Whoever's ready.
Good morning, board. Happy New Year to all of you. Thank you for my appointment. I am coming before you all with 2 requests. The first request being to get approval to advertise for 6-month supplies for the road department.
You heard the request.
Second.
A motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Hutchins. Any unreadiness? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And the last thing is that I was wanting to request that the credit card report be spread across the board minutes.
You heard the request of the purchasing agent credit card.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Hutchins. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, that's it.
Thank you.
You go ahead. I ain't gonna fight you over there. Good morning, board.
Good morning.
I am here with the E911 reports from December. The sheriff's department had a total of 697 calls. The police department had 1,260 calls, and the fire department had a total of 43 calls. Y'all have any questions?
Any questions? Come on. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm going to represent the assessor's office this morning. I have 10 board orders, 1 personal property, and 9 real. But something must have went wrong with the transfer of the history file over to the print shop. If y'all remember last year, Peddler's Antique and Palm fell under the city, and he's actually out in the county. I changed it. Again, he received a bill with the city on it, the city millage. And we cannot figure out how, because on my screen it says 1,000, but on the bill it says 1,100, which is the city district. So we don't know how this is getting changed between me and the collector's office. So, he did call and I asked that we remove the city millage off his, tax bill, which is $401.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any unreadiness?
Like, what is his address?
The Peddlers, I don't have his address. Peddlers Antique Palm, out there at 61
61 North.
North, well, out there on the very end.
Was it
No, it's 61.
It's just past that car.
Yeah, that's north, yeah.
Alexander Batter Shop here.
Redwood. Straight across the street, Redwood.
Yeah, right across the street from where we, had the cleanup.
Okay. Thank you.
All in favor? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
The next three are very similar. We had board orders on them last year to remove property, mobile homes, these little mobile homes. And somehow or another, their bill came this year with them back on it again. So we've got Deborah Cuthbert, Casey Greer, and Frank Scott. Trailer, and they're all trailers, mobile homes. They were deleted last year, but they come back on the bills this year. So there's got to be something in the transfer from us to Lawrence Prince. Let's check, Mr. Jeff. Mr. Ricky, that's 601B for the peddlers.
You heard the request of the tax assessor's office.
So moved.
The same three.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Dr. William Dickey came in. His assessment, his assessed value went up to $57,000. He brought in some comps with, those are proven sales around his area. And, Wayne reduced his assessment from 57 to 42,000. And he's asking for a reduction.
You've heard the
You said
request.
from 56?
57, 679, 42, 158.
What's the address on that?
142 Jefferson Davis Boulevard.
Okay, and like you said, was reduced?
He brought in some comp sales. Some of the buildings around him were selling, and we had a higher value on him than the ones that are being sold around him.
Heard the request of the tax assessor's office. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
A motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gaines. All in favor?
Did you have two people sign off on that?
All I have is Dr. Dickey. Dr. Dickey P. the third.
Who should sign that?
It's, the statute says two different people have to sign off. When it's a reduction of value, did Larry sign off on it as well?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that'd be fine.
Oh. I thought you meant another taxpayer. I ain't
You got
gonna
the
look.
assessor and the payer,
I'm not gonna go look for any more.
but the payer is okay too.
We have a church out at 216 Ogden. It's Rector Wardens. He paid a tax bill this year. And, we're wanting to remove it from the road. The church is not supposed to be on there. But it got assessed this year. No. That was for 20. This is for 20. He's not on there this year. He just realized he wasn't supposed to be on there, and he paid the bill in 2020. So this is going back to 2020. So it looks like it may be a refund. He's wanting a refund.
Is there any way we can do that? Can we go back and do that?
I can't remember all now.
We'll check.
I think, well, I thought that they don't report before that time, that we can't go back and do it.
Well, I think there's a process if there's overpaid taxes to do it. I'm not sure it's done through a board order or not for a refund.
When was it removed?
No, it's, this year it was removed for the 21 road. And I'm assuming, I hadn't talked to the man, that he realized he paid the bill last year. And he's saying we shouldn't, since he's a church, he shouldn't be on the road.
He paid for 20, he was off the roll in 21.
Right.
And he wasn't on there in 2019 neither. Somehow he got picked up and put on the road for
So
2020.
has he paid for 19 and 20?
No ma'am, he wasn't on there on 19, only on 20.
Shouldn't have been there on point.
He shouldn't have been there on 20.
What did he pay?
20,608.
$20,000?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sure.
He should have been on the roll for 2020 because of what?
Somebody picked him up, I'm assuming. Somebody put him on the road.
It went to land sale too.
Oh, it did, well, I don't have all that paperwork.
That's the one, that's the old Trinity School. So it went to land sale. And that's what they paid tax, the land sale was $20,000.
So
that-
those were taxes that was owed, that's it. Probably from.
I thought you said Ogden Road.
That's where it is, 213 Ogden.
That's not.
That's
That's not the
Trent.
same thing.
That's not the same thing.
Well, maybe they got.
I'm trying to find out, $20,000, is that the assessed value or is that the amount?
No, sir, the assessed value was 112,000.
Sure.
Must be a nice church.
Regular ones and the rest of them, that's.
That must be my
That don't sound right at all.
Here's the bill. Yeah, it did go to the land sale in 2021. Now,
Peggy, I'll get with you on that.
Take that one on.
okay,
I don't know if we can refund.
I don't know anything about it.
Especially if it went to land sale already.
yeah, it went to land sale.
Okay, we're gonna defer that to the next meeting.
I don't know who bought it. Notice the additional penalty is 2,500. Okay. That one we're gonna put to the side, right?
Yeah, just email it over to me.
So before we move on, so you saying that, no church pays taxes?
That's correct.
It's For any
Church,
property
government,
that they
city.
use for charitable purposes, they don't pay it. But let's say they have a bookstore, that wouldn't be charitable purposes.
Right.
They pay taxes then.
Okay, then my question is, who do that paperwork? Because was it down as a church or was it down as something else for them to be charging them $20,000 in taxes? Because if somebody doing the paperwork and they know it's a church,
It stopped being used for charitable purposes by Trinity, the church, when they shut down the school. They weren't using it for any purposes at that point. It became taxable. Then they sold it to a church who's now running it as a church. It goes back on property taxes.
so the question is, the time period that it wasn't a church and wasn't being used, you said it could be
It
taxable.
becomes taxable once they stop using it for charitable purposes. It means if you just sit and hold it, put it up for sale, which is what they
Yes, sir.
did, that's no longer a charitable purpose. It became taxable.
Let's correct this, because we're talking about two different properties here.
No, we're not.
We're not, so that
That's the
is
same.
all.
That's all I gave them.
I thought you said off the road.
You don't say?
So is this the same building we're talking about, is that Trinity Church?
That, it's not Trinity Church, Trinity School,
Cool, that's, yeah.
right, is now Cornerstone Church.
So why's on the road?
Yeah, where's the Ogden Road? That's, Dr. Roby Drive or some shit.
See, this is all like
Is that
Sheriff
what
found it being a church, a trailer on that 213 Ogden.
That's what I'm saying.
So-
Sure.
It's 5.5
down the
trail of it.
But they have it under building, it being a building. Well, we have to look. I'll go,
That's
I'll
all
go.
we need to, you know.
Yeah, I can go right that man.
It became taxable and they pitched a huge fit about it. But it's taxable.
Let's just,
Well,
we
take a
need
look
to just, you know,
I mean-
research that before we even deal with this info.
Trinity was complaining, they're the ones that wanted it taken off of taxable back when it happened. it's taxable. I mean, the law is the law. If you are holding property for charitable work purposes, then it's not taxable. But if it's not charitable purposes, it's taxable.
Let her do a little more research and come back to us, y'all.
Yeah, I'm just a messenger today. I'll know more about it next time.
Okay.
For, Dewey Walker. This, from what I can see, it says, a building only, and this is for 20 and 21 is what they're wanting to do. Remove the taxes for 20 and 21 because it was combined with 15096.
What is the name?
That's that trailer right there, that 213 Ogden Road. Walker, Dewey Walker. He just typed it in wrong.
I mean, for
Do we-
2021, there's still time to adjust
Yeah,
the taxes. For 2020, I don't know if we can adjust taxes by then. I thought it was before the next August. Right?
it's only $27. Yeah, I think it's already too late really for 20.
I believe so. I
I
don't,
think it is, being honest, but I'm just doing what they tell me to do.
Who told you to do that?
I get notes on my desk, AD please type board order. Wayne,
We need to hold off on that one.
Yeah,
the county.
that one you can, but for 2020,
that one, right? Or that what we need to do?
I think she need to go do the research and bring it back to us. She said she just doing what somebody else told her to do. So let her look into it and make sure whatever she bringing us is in order.
Put that one with the last one.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
alright, so I got another one just like it then, another trailer that, for 21 and 20. And this is Reba Calvin Estate. So y'all want me to go look at these and make sure they're gone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Oh, I like it. Okay, now here are a few in addition. Mississippi Portfolio Partners. Location 135 Lewis Street. We want to add or increase, there's no value on there right now. Somehow or another they were overlooked. And that would be adding to the road $332,000. And we're asking if we can add it to the road for this year and send them a bill.
okay, defer to that. I'll talk about that in executive session.
You wanna keep that one in?
Please do that.
Okay. I'm through. Anything else? Okay.
Good morning, board. How's everybody? Happy New Year. First before I get started, I want to ask the board to go ahead and reinstate our fire coordinator, Darryl Smith. Y'all left him out. Start getting keys. Yeah, you have to report the fire coordinator.
I need a motion to approve fire coordinator. For 1 year term. Got a motion by Supervisor Hutchins,
Second.
second by Supervisor Gaines, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
I appreciate it. Got a couple things, bear with us. First thing, talk about the Omicron. We're looking at here in the county. Our numbers continue to rise, but we're not at 100 cases as of now. So once a lot of people is doing a lot of testing now at the safe room, we're starting to pick up business at the safe room. So we get averaging probably like 50 to 100 people a day, Tuesday and Wednesday getting tested. So out of those, I think last week, they tested 80, I think 40 of those were positive. So we want to just keep, reassure everybody, hey, stay safe, get vaccinated, and because this Omicron is spreading faster than the Delta virus. It's not as more potent, but it's just spreading faster. But people are still dying. So we want to, take a look at that and keep it in the back of our heads as we go forward. We're trying not to do another mask mandate or nothing like that because the state hasn't done anything. But if our numbers continue to rise, I'll probably come back to the board and we just do another mask requirement for county buildings to keep our employees safe because some of our employees are coming down with it real bad. So we need, take precaution on that, those things. Also, Reagan County.
I have a question.
You said they are still testing at the safe room,
Yes, ma'am.
so people can go, is it
Yes,
free
ma'am.
testing?
Tuesdays and Wednesdays, they're doing free testing, Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Tuesday and Wednesday?
Yeah, you still have to register, go online and register.
Okay.
So try to get many people tested as we can. I think some places are charging individuals. So if you don't want to pay, they can use the safe room. It's free.
Mr. President, this is confusing to me because we don't get the numbers like we used to. Doctors in the community is quiet. Ain't nobody saying nothing. And we got employees catching the COVID, and they telling them within 5 days, you wear your mask, you come back to work, and you might still have COVID. Now, I'm not gonna try to ask somebody to do something that I wouldn't do, because if she tell me she have COVID, I'm not gonna sit here beside her knowing she got COVID. So, I'm serious though. Something wrong with this picture. Because if an employee have COVID, and you know they have COVID, and the requirements is mask up and come back to work with COVID, that don't make sense to me. Now you exposing the other employees, and they could end up getting COVID, and we have some of these individuals that work with this county have underlying health conditions, but we tell them, you go back to work with COVID with a mask on.
Let me say this. Cause I know someone that did test positive with COVID, and they got a letter from the doctor to go back within 5 days. Cause it said you are no longer contagious after 5 days.
Right.
So, I mean, you may still have some symptoms and all like that, but you're no longer contagious. So that's why they're sending them back to work in 5 days, but you still have the mask up.
Right.
Because you're no longer contagious.
Right, and those were some of the things that the new CDC guidance came out with. Because what they're saying is with the Omicron, you catch it faster, so they're trying to tell people you're only contagious in those 3 to 5 days when you first get exposed. And I think
Let me clear this too, since I said that. You have to be vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, then it's a difference. It's 10 days. But if you are vaccinated, then it's 5 days.
right, I got a list of new CDC guys. I talked to Raven. She's supposed to be getting those put on a letterhead sent out to the county. So she sent them out? Okay, I don't know if the board got them on a recommendation. So, that's what I asked when she gets back, and she's out. So she asked me to, she asked me to ask the board, can we adopt those new CDC guidelines for our employees? Because like I said, if they're vaccinated, they still do the test. If they get a negative test, within the 5 days, they can come back to work. Or if they've been fully vaccinated with no symptoms, they can wear their mask and still work along with their social distance. Those are some of the new CDC guidelines.
I'm more confused now than I was before we started talking about that, because he just made a comment. If you test negative, you can come back to work. Some of these people are coming back to work without a test at all. My only concern is this. I understand the CDC guidelines, this thing is changing so much with the CDC guidelines, you don't know what to believe now. So as a county, it's our responsibility to try to do what's best for the people that work in this county and keep them safe. My only concern is knowing that we have employees with underlying health conditions. We are exposing those people. I understand they say in 5 days, you whatever gonna happen, but if I got cancer, you telling me I want to be working in a closed room with somebody that the doctor say, can't do nothing to me?
But Supervisor agree with what they're saying, because if you catch COVID, say for you work for 5 days, you go take another test. it may come back positive, and that person can be out 30 to 40 days because it stays in your system. That's why they're recommended it. But now, if you as a supervisor, y'all want to have an employee out 30 days, if they don't have time, they're gonna be out 30 days, but that comes off their time. If you want to require them to get a negative test, it don't work that way. That's why they're saying.
No, you just said a negative test.
No. I say if what it is, just say that you get an individual been exposed to somebody. According to the CDC, you wait 3 to 5 days before you get tested. Now, if you test positive, you ain't got no symptoms, and you've been vaccinated with the booster, you can come back to work. That's what they're saying. But if you haven't been vaccinated and you have some symptoms, then that's when you take the whole 4 to 10 days.
But see, you didn't say that at first.
Because that's why I was trying to get, I didn't know that she sent y'all the information, because there's a lot of information in there that explains you on the process of what to do with this. I can go through and read if y'all want to. That's what I'm saying, because it's so long, you have to read and understand what it's saying. It makes sense because, like I say, if you've been vaccinated boosted, you're only contagious a short period of time. So, but if you try to require that person to take another COVID test before he comes back and he keep getting positive, he's gonna keep getting positive after 10 to 23rd day because it's still in the system, but he's not contagious. That's what they're saying. They can wear their mask, but they're not contagious, even though they're positive. That's what they're saying.
Okay, I'm gonna leave this alone, but this is what I'm saying. Everybody's body different. And they going off of whoever they done used as a guinea pig, but my situation in my body is different from her body, so you can't tell me that what's good for her body is good for my body. That's all I'm saying. We can move on.
Can I say something to Supervisor? I mean, yeah, the county has accommodated. And what I mean by that is, we don't want anybody to be uncomfortable. So there are things such as people who can work so many days from home. You know, and others who's not comfortable. It's very few people you can count. I can count on one hand the people that don't have time. So if they're 5 days up and they feel like they need another 5 days, they can take their day. They got time. We don't deny any employees. I have never denied an employee who wants to take off. So they changed the rules, so they have to use days anyway, sick days, vacation days. So if they are not comfortable or their employees, their peers are not comfortable, they can work from home, they can take off.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Mr. President, okay, since she brought that up, a lot of employees that work with this county don't know what you just said. And should it be up to the supervisor to explain to them? If you don't feel comfortable, you have time off and you eligible to take your personal time off? Because some of these people don't even know that. They think that they're being forced to come back to work under this 3 to 5 day grace period. So if I got so many days that I can take off, then if that individual take them days off, it's gonna be held against them? If somebody's gonna retaliate against them?
They should definitely not. I mean, federal law is we make reasonable accommodations for people. If they have situations where, for instance, they can take off and work remotely, and that's a reasonable accommodation for a few days, then we certainly have to allow that. Not only do we allow that, we have to. If they want to take off, that's why they have personal days and sick leave. So we need our supervisors, the HR, our county administrator, myself, we all need to make sure that our employees know that. Those are definitely available for them. So
Well, could we send something out to the department heads, the supervisor, and the human resource director where if some of our employees that don't know and don't understand that they'll have this information too?
Yeah, and it's not just COVID, it's for any type of situation. We try to accommodate because not only we have to, we want our employees to feel like that. So for work, we appreciate them wanting to come to work.
So I think what I'm gonna ask is that Ms. King, if you will, type something up and get it to Attorney Slover and let him look it over before you send it out to the department head. Thank you.
I would ask Mr. President to make sure it's COVID related because you have a lot of employees take advantage of that. And I'm just gonna be, I'm trading they will. If you leave any scapegoat where, any misinterpretation where they can say, if I know my COVID had COVID, I don't wanna come to work. They can use much time as they can for COVID related to stay out and still it will hurt the department. So we need to,
Right, but it's their time. Whether it's COVID or not, the county have allowed so many hours a month for an employee to take off. We can't not deny them. You know, they have time that's accumulated for days if you really wanna know the truth. We cannot deny that.
So you saying let them
We
use their
can't,
own
we just-
personal
Well,
PTO.
Right,
Let them use their own personal
that's their time.
Because the only thing I was gonna suggest was just getting with Reagan and putting some criteria on this so we don't be overran with people trying to go. But if they got their own time,
They
I
have
get what
to-
you're saying.
Yeah, so COVID or not, they have to use their own time anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the time for me, you put
Right.
your own time.
Right.
Okay.
My understanding is, in order to do this, and I know that's what other jobs are doing, they have to submit a letter stating that they have COVID. That's what other jobs are doing. They submitting letters that they have COVID so they can be able to have that time. You just can't say, I got COVID. You need a letter saying that you don't went and been tested and show that you have COVID.
And our policy addresses how you talk about illnesses or whatever. Most, if they could say I'm sick or whatever, they can ask for clarification. It's in our handbook.
Right.
Well,
And I think it's after 3 days
After three
anyway, you
consecutive
have to
days,
submit
yeah,
something that
yeah.
you, yeah, after 3 days anyway, you have to submit.
Yeah.
So
So,
most of them, even with a letter, I can come in and say I've been exposed. I don't have to have COVID to take off. I can be exposed to someone who have it and still need to stay at home. But
but that's when you have to be,
you know,
you
can't
have to be
control.
tested too.
But
You have
after
to
that
If
third
it's so,
day,
you're supposed to be tested too.
Correct.
after that third day, when you
Yeah,
said I've been exposed, or not, you still gotta have some kind of sheet
That's
to
right.
come back with the handbook said after
Right,
the
exactly.
second day.
Right.
exactly.
like I said, this is my recommendation. I understand the county handbook, but COVID specific, because keep in mind, her department is a critical department. If one person get exposed and the rest of the ship say, we got COVID, stay at home, what you think will happen to her? And what you gonna think you gonna affect these guys here, cause ain't nobody. So, but they county close, so that's what I'm saying, they gotta be able, where it's fair across the board, because if you show any discrimination against the 911 department, that's discrimination. So it got to be a policy broad enough for the entire county and understandable enough that we can, justify that we can use it just for COVID related incidents. Because keep in mind, if you get exposed to a person, you're not supposed to get a test until 3 to 5 days out. Because a lot what it is, when people say I've been exposed, they run out taking a test and it's come back negative. Then they turn around 3 to 5 days later and positive. And then once they return positive, then that's when they become contagious and spread it, and you never get a root of it. So we have to abide by those policies and get it, because if you test too early, it just be in vain. So that's why we gotta have some in place, some guidance for these people, so they won't try to use that and just taking time out. We ain't trying to take it from them, but we wanna make sure that the county is still able, the government is still able to function with the amount of people that it needs to run.
I believe we have a request from Mr. Bradford to adopt CDC guidelines. Can I get a motion?
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I get a motion?
so,
Motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any other items?
The only question I have, when you say adopt the CDC guidelines, what are we adopting? Because it seems like every time I look around, it's changing.
These are current guidelines of what they understand is Omicron. It all, when a new variant comes out, you have to have data and see what it's doing, because this is the new Omicron variant. It's more contagious, but it's not as deadly as the Delta. So the new guidance is trying to corral the Omicron virus, that variant of the COVID-19. So that's why with people vaccinated, it covers people that's vaccinated, what to do if you're not vaccinated, what to do if you only got 2 shots versus the booster. So all that information is in there, explaining the county or what we can do, our employees can do to better help control the spread of it. That's what we're trying to do, maintain the spread of it.
So let me ask you a question. You knew you was gonna ask us to adopt it? Did you send us something?
First of all, I'm speaking on behalf of Reagan. I sent it to Reagan. She's the medical person for the county. I advised her of the updates of it. I talked to her, I said, look, Ray, this is what they got. What you recommend? She put on her letterhead as a nurse practitioner and said, I didn't send it out. She's not here today because she's out with COVID.
Right.
So that's why,
I missed that one.
yeah, that's why I brought, she asked me to bring it for the board to adopt those because we don't have any. We don't have any COVID protocols.
Can I say something? I thought we had already.
We got it.
No, once the emergency declaration ends, yeah, that was last year. This is the new Omicron, so that's what we adopted, the new Omicron CDC guideline.
So could you give me a little short of what we adopting? Cause I don't have.
I didn't speak in the last 15 minutes.
Well,
Do you have a copy of it? Do you have a copy of it?
Yeah, the sheriff just sent it to you.
I emailed all of y'all a copy of what Raven suggested.
When? Just.
Yeah, you check the email, it's in all of y'all email right now. You don't really-
Yeah, I like to read before I adopt it. So come back at the end of the meeting while I done been red line, while I know what I'm adopting. I like that.
It's a short version in there that she gave, and I'm sending y'all the actual CDC as of 7 days ago.
Include me on that email, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She don't even have it. I don't mean no harm. In 2022, I'm not adopting nothing that I ain't read. That's come from anybody. I want to read over what I'm adopting while I know what I'm adopting. That's all I'm saying. Ain't nothing personal against you.
No, I'm saying they got to send a motion in there.
Supervisor Hutchins, you want to present your motion?
I said no.
Come back at the end. Could you do that, Brad?
Or y'all will wait for her, because it's her recommendation.
I just want to read over. Could you just come back at the end of the meeting? Just give me a chance to know what I'm
I got
adopting.
it, I won't get into it, so.
Okay, motion's been rescinded.
Yep, alright. The next one, as part of our emergency preparedness campaign, we're issuing businesses. We started last week. We're gonna start issuing business, with 5 or more employees. We have some mid-land weather radios we're trying to get out to the community as part of our general alert, process. I think maybe 3 or 4 businesses did call in and receive those weather radios. So if you got any business in your area that needs a weather radio, tell them contact ours. They are the program, and we'll bring it to them. Because like I said, we have maybe like 40 left over. So you want to go and get those out to the community. That's county or city.
5 or more employees, right?
We have 5 more employees.
And that's, businesses.
Yep, business. Yep.
Brad, I don't know if you had this on your list, the declaration of emergency on December 11th. Did you want to get that ratified?
Oh, yeah, we can get it. We didn't use it, so it kind
It's
of,
still declared, but
yeah, it's still declared, so we can go to end that one on December 11th, like the board end that one, what we did for December 11th for the storms.
Is there any motion?
So,
There's a motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Gaines, all in favor?
Okay, just a heads up for new President Mima, our floodplain, FEMA is doing our floodplain inspection, certification this year. It's gonna be, January the 18th to the 20th. Mima is coming down to look over our paperwork, on the 5th and 6th tomorrow, Wednesday. If you wanna come by and see what we do on the floodplain, because you gonna have to sign for that ordinance, and everything we do. Or if we doing any floodplain building, any floodplains that, the county has adopted. So I'll bring you up on speed on that before the, FEMA gets, the federal government gets here on the 18th and 20th.
Mr. President, Brad, is it a website we can go on to actually see the floodplain in Adams County?
Yeah, it is.
What is? Just send it to me.
Okay, I just sent it. Okay. Yeah, mostly, like I said, I know some of the district, main ones is 1, I think 2 got one, maybe District 5. And if you're the city, I think the city got a couple on that we need to look at. And I know we need, like I said, a lot of those areas they build, they gotta be permitted, per our ordinance. Did everybody got a copy of our new ordinance? If not, I'll send it out to the new supervisor, or I'll resend it to all y'all.
Yeah, send it out.
Okay. Okay. My last thing is, we're trying to get the old Pickett building. I think that's a piece of county property off Lower Wolford Road. The sheriff department had it when they were storing a lot of cars and stuff in it. And we was trying to get it for EMA to store our trailers and our ATVs. Right now, they're out in the weather. we need a place to put them. And I know we've been weighing Robbie out with his stuff, and I know he got room just enough for his equipment too. But we trying to get that spot out to help store some of our county equipment and make that into our logistical building where we can get sandbags and stuff to have for that area. But we went out there, I think a gentleman is in that building. I don't know if he's leasing it.
It was done by the previous board, he was in the side of the paper mill, where the sheriff moved his vehicle over there, he was in that building, so they moved him over to that side, just, he was cutting the hay in the mill, keeping it clean, and he was storing his equipment, but that's who got it, that's where that comes from,
We moved out because
whatever board it is, to tell him, but, he was in that building in the back there that the sheriff went to, and he moved across the road over there.
Okay, Sheriff just said it was breaking in.
Yeah, we moved out because we were storing our seized vehicles and stuff in there, and they kept going there breaking into the stealing the stuff out the vehicles. So we had to get out of there because we couldn't run power to it to put up cameras, so that's why we had to move out.
Well, it don't make no sense for you to move in if they gonna be breaking in and doing all that.
They kept stealing everything.
If they break in on the jail, there ain't been nothing.
So with that being said, I'll be looking for a thousand buildings, so we got, I'm trying to get out the cheaper way, but I'll see if we got any grants. I'll see what maybe help us
We
build.
might be able to use out where they're using,
No, we got a lot of stuff, and I don't want, the sheriff got a lot of stuff too, so, we're
it's like 300 acres out there, we can.
Yeah, but either way, we gotta build a building.
They still don't need a building.
Yeah. So, okay, but I'll get back with the board on that.
Oh, we got 45 acres, we good.
Okay, that's all I have for opinion, of course.
Thank you, bro.
All right.
Morning, board. Just got one request here from T-Mobile, and that's a permit to place additional equipment on an existing SBA Corporation tower site located at 3 Dave Levitt Road. The project will include the placement of 3 antennas, 3 remote radio units, a hybrid cable and associated equipment, and the removal of 3 antennas and 3 remote radio units. The placement of this additional equipment will improve T-Mobile service along Martin Luther King Road and portions of western Adams County. The ordinance requirements have been met and fees have been paid. I request the board to approve this T-Mobile permit application.
Heard the request, Mr. Speaker, can I get a motion?
So move.
A motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gaines. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Y'all got any questions or anything?
Motion.
Okay.
Thank you. Move up.
Good morning. All I have is, I just need the board president to sign about the fire investigator for the county.
That what?
Just, for the county fire investigator, for the state to send into the state sheriff already. Well, he appointed me as the fire investigator for the county for this year. And I just need the board president to sign it.
For the new supervisor, he's been working with the county and the sheriff's office in a dual role for the last 6 years as fire investigator for us as well. And for you two, Mr. King.
Yeah, motion to approve the appointment of the sheriff.
So moved.
A motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines. Question? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Get a copy and give the copy to Dave Woods. You got a copy? Okay. Just a minute.
We just did.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, good morning, board. Happy New Year. And I appreciate you guys for allowing me to serve as county engineer for the next year. Just want to get some updates on some projects that we have going on. Of course, we had a 26 Cleo project. That project advertised in December. We had a bid opening for that project during our next board meeting on the 18th of this month. Currently, we have one contractor who's interested in plans, so if you know any of the contractors who may be interested in purchasing plans for their project, just have them reach out to me. My email is G4 to IMS Engineers. We can schedule a meet date to get plans. I can mail them to them, or we just meet in person, doesn't matter. The SAP State Aid striping only project just received final comments from State Aid to allow us to do the final PS&E package to get advertising for that project. We plan on having that project done this week and send plans back to them no longer, get it all packaged and sent over back over to State Aid by Tuesday of next week. That way we can get that project advertised for construction. The Burke Road project, State Aid, I come to communication with them. They're saying that our program form was approved, have not received it yet. There apparently there's some communication going back and forth between State Aid and MDOT about who will administer that project with the county using State Aid funds for that project. But in the meantime, in good faith effort to make sure we expect that project, we've gone in and started surveying that project in the event that we will get approved for that. But we can't submit any kind of preliminary documents until we officially get approved. But we'll go ahead and do our design, start doing our design and everything in the intention that we're supposed to get approved for that project.
Any indication on a time frame?
No, every time I talk to them, it's, I'm gonna send it to you on Monday. And so we just, if something happens between the time that we talk and that Monday, that stalled that process.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last I have is the EWPs Group 4. We're designing them. We're going to pull South Palestine Road out because it has an earlier deadline than the other 5 roads. So we're going to finish that design approval finish design of South Palestine by next week. I don't know if we need to do it separately, that one, because it has a month earlier deadline than the other 5 projects. So we'll just finish that design and get us in over NRCS for their approval, and hopefully they allow us to advertise that for construction. And then we have the remaining roads, Liberty Roads, Lansdowne, Park Road, Prince Edition, Equipment Road, and Wisteria. They're about 50% design, and we'll be submitting those to NRCS for approval by the 21st of January. One thing we needed to make sure is on Prince Edition, there was an issue with sewage on site that the landowner was supposed to get corrected before that project is approved. We want to make sure that one project is not holding up the rest of those projects. So we need to reach out to the landowner to make sure she has.
What is that at here?
It's on the Prince Edition.
Prince Edition.
I know who it
You
is.
go out there and
We just called them
get
before.
that house on the.
That's the one I called before.
Yeah.
She was supposed to correct it. She was the elderly lady, trying to get her kids, supposed to correct it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So, but we'll, like I said, all 6 of those sites will be done by the end of the month in NRC's hands, waiting to approve to let us move forward with advertising those projects. Are there any questions for me while I'm here?
I want to ask you something, Scott, too. You went out and checked Penn's Road out there, both roads?
I did.
Okay, and now you were asking for an as-built, or Scott, maybe you were, but Jordan Collins Sessions said they didn't do the engineering work.
Okay.
And the gentleman that built out there, I think it died. So leaves us kind of in a quandary about how do we proceed about trying to adopt those 2 roads that are only 200 feet long, I guess.
Well, what I did was, in my letter that I submitted, I didn't include them. I just made the recommendations that I saw for as visual observation, what I saw, and they said I couldn't see anything subsurface. Now, ultimately, it'd be the county's decision whether or not they want to adopt it. I just listed the work that needs to be done and be considered of what future repairs would need to be made and how those future repairs would need to be made.
What the engineer's supposed to do is, I keep on saying look for it, kind of like what Spencer just did. We have ordinance, does this road comply with the ordinance? And if it doesn't, then here's what it needs to do to be under compliance.
So Based on my inspection, visual inspection, I put in the item that was within the ordinance that was provided to me that I was supposed to compare it with. Only thing I couldn't compare it to was subsurface items because you actually asked me to go out there and do some pouring. I can try to verify to make sure it's that way. That'd be additional fee, but it would've been easier if I could say as-built plan to see what was under the concrete that was out there.
Right.
Because one thing I don't want to do is, it's supposed to be so, the material under the concrete is supposed to be so thick. It's not that thick. Something comes, mess the road up, find out it's not that thick. I made a recommendation to adopt the road. I don't want to be in that position.
Okay.
For everything else that I saw, it met the requirements, except I can't verify the subsurface thing.
Okay.
It meets the requirements and there's a statutory procedure. You can file a petition, either the owners can file a petition or the board itself can make a motion to have it declared, get it advertised, and you can get approved after a public hearing.
What's the name?
Pins, is it, east pins and west pins? I mean, you come to a T and there's right and left, and I'm like, they're like, what, 250 feet maybe, Rob?
Not real long, yeah.
And the residents on that road said that if there's anything wrong, which you did point out a few things, and I think Robbie has too, they would be willing to fix anything that's wrong to get it where we want it. And I would like to adopt the road at that point, if that's okay with the board.
Okay, I think to adopt this road, we have to make sure it's up to standards and everything.
That's what he's done, is gone out there and get it. There's some things he could not quite opine yet that they meet our standards, but there's some things that it still needs to do before it gets our standards. And then get our standards, and then we can approve it. We can approve it preliminarily and hold it for a year and then have a final improvement. We usually do that for construction, pipe work or whatever, just to see how the road's gonna do, or they can approve it.
This particular boat rate, most of it was asphalt with curb and gutter, but this one is actually concrete with curb and gutter. So it's a better road than we approved in the past apparently, but it's holding some residents up from building out there. Yeah, and they're $300,000 plus houses, so, you know, best interest to get it done. So what's the next step, Scott?
Well, I mean, if they fulfill all his items that need to be completed and he finishes up with his opinion, then we would put an advertisement and have a public hearing on it. You make a motion to make a public hearing on it, we go that route, but they need to, get it up to the standards first.
Okay. Rob, you have a list of that?
I do.
We get it to the individuals.
Back up and get it to the residents or the ones, in power. Get it to him, and then once they do it, like Mark says, once they get it done, they get back with the county, and say it's complete, he can look at it again, and say it's been completed, and make it a recommendation to the board to accept the road.
Okay, thank you.
And I appreciate you all's time for all this. Sheriff.
Morning again, you all. How y'all doing today? Morning 22. All right, first thing I have this morning is trash reports. For December, District 1, 35 bags, District 2, 112 bags, District 3, 114 bags, District 4, 0 bags, District 5, 39 bags.
Wait a minute.
The reason why I'm gonna give you exactly, I'm gonna say that. I knew you was gonna catch it, but the reason why we don't, that we didn't have anything from District 4, but they're working on it this morning, is because, Dr. Myers asked for help, that we trying to get that shelter together. And so I had to pull those guys and get them over there to Clayton Street to help them get that land and that house and everything straightened up. So unfortunately, we had to skip something, but they're working on it this morning.
And the reason we have this is because of the holidays to such large amounts in District 3.
Yeah, people still trash. I'm not even buzzing. I have all fast.
I think go over the trash, right? I just need to know who's the person in contact.
Now it's gonna be made to Stanley Cersei. He's gonna be the one, and Chief Neal. Those two, Nichols was doing that first.
Yes, what I'm saying.
Yeah, so, but you call Cersei, he'll get it taken care of. I need Wes to sign this, so we can get reimbursed. We can get reimbursed for the, pickups. I'm gonna pass.
Wes needs to sign that.
Next thing I have,
I need to get a motion, to approve the reimbursement. Motion by Supervisor Gray. Second by Supervisor Hutchins. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
the next thing I do have some new hires in different positions, and I'm not sure if you have him, President Milton.
Yes.
You should have them, HR said they were signed. I don't have copies, but they say you have them.
Do you want to go through these now?
Yes. Earl Cornwell.
Hold on, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, it is. Should be about 4.
Maybe for you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. 4 on 1 page. Okay. All right. Earl Cornwell, $12.60 an hour. That's the $26,208 we talked about earlier.
You want to do them all? You want to
Yeah, I
do
want to
them
go ahead and
at a
do
time?
them all. Yeah.
I did double check that, it is, their starting rate has always been $12.60.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Robert Irvin, $12.60 an hour. He's in the jail. Now, Christy Little, we're gonna bring her in part-time instead of full-time because, they cut the vocal grant. And so at part-time with no benefits at all, $18.93 an hour, that's $19,687.20 a year.
18 what?
$18.93 an hour part-time with no benefits. So it's $19,687.20 a year to work on the CIP/vocal grant. And the last one is going to be Charles Clemens. London had to retire, and so we wanted to bring him in at $18 an hour, which is $37,440.
$18 an hour, you said?
Yes.
This annual rate saying $37,128.
Yeah, I know they sent a correction over, but apparently I didn't get the correction. So. But that's what I needed to be though.
Is that Charles Clemens?
Yes.
Yes.
And he's what?
$18 an hour, $37,440. He's gonna be the second in charge in jail.
Is he a new employee?
Yes.
He is a new employee.
We need to get that signed before we approve it, because before he starts work. We don't want him working without being on payroll. That's all
Right, he's not here yet. That's why I'm bringing him to the board.
But we can't approve it until we have that. So can
Till
we
you
get
have
the corrected
Yeah.
one?
We'll have it over here before the board meeting. It should be no good anymore. All right.
That's just not.
That's why we instituted this policy, because
All.
not all, but all from the last one, they bring it
We
in.
can hold that one until he gets the information on here.
Okay, you've heard the request of the sheriff with all excluding Charles Clemens at this time. Can I get a motion?
So,
All right.
Motion,
Oh, go ahead.
motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Hutchins, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
The last thing I have pay-wise is for Cameron Swashire. He was supposed to start out at $16.01, but some kind of way he got started out on a new pay rate with the other deputies. And so we need to reduce him from 16, I think it's 83 to 16.01. We need to move him
Pay
back.
rate change to 1601,
Yes. we
annual
need to-
rate 33,380.
Yes.
You heard the request of the sheriff.
so
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any unready? All in favor? Ayes have it.
The last thing I had, well, the last two things I have is, I wanted to make you all aware that the main freezer in the jail is going out. And normally, I think that freezer goes for like 35,000 a year, 35,000 brand new. We're working on getting a second quote, but Hicks has one that's in really good condition that they're looking to sell for 15,000. So we're working with Francis to try to get other quotes, but this freezer is leaking bad and it's gonna go out like soon, so we have to replace it. And so I just want to bring that to y'all's attention. That Hicks does have one for sale for 15,000, and they showed us the invoice. They showed us the invoice where they purchased it for 34,000, some dollars.
How old is it?
Let's see. Looked like it was purchased in 2016.
Would there be any warranty on that?
I'm gonna have to ask them on that, but we were just trying to think it through what we have, budget wise on that 15,000. But either way it goes, we had to get other quotes, so I'll bring that back to the board, but I just want to make you all aware that that's happening.
What's it gonna
Your
cost
biggest
to move it, take the other one out, put a new one in? Or are you talking about just the
No, it's just
compressor and everything, or you talking about just?
No, this is just the whole freezer. Yeah, yeah, it's just the whole freezer gone. So it's leaking bad.
So what's the swap out gonna cost?
If we bought the one from Hicks, it'll cost 15,000. But if not, it's gonna cost over 35 grand. I can tell you that now. It's gonna be well over 35.
The installation, who's gonna do that?
I was gonna ask Johnny to do it. He can do it.
Okay.
Johnny
The
was
challenge on getting Hicks or whatever is finding that second quote compared
right.
to.
So we're working on it, but we're
Getting
gonna have
new
to
stuff
address
is harder to do.
it. It is.
How old is the freezer?
It's the one that's over there. I don't know, but it was there before I got there. So I don't know. I know it was over 6 years old for sure. It wasn't anything that we purchased. It's been there for like years. It's been there for years. The last thing I have is a budget amendment on vehicles. I know last year you all approved 65,000 for enterprise to be put in there, but it wasn't put in there, so I'm asking for that money from last year to be put on this budget so we can put it enterprise.
You heard the request, Sheriff. Can I get a motion? A second?
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second. Supervisor Gray, any on ready?
Can you repeat that again, Sheriff, what you just said?
It's in the minutes where you all approve, for that, Scott, you remember that initial deposit for enterprise for 65,000? There's a lot of emails went kind of back and forth on this. And so it was approved, but the money was never actually put into this account. I do have the account number on if y'all need it. But I'm asking for, since it wasn't put on there last year, for the amended budget, for that to be put on this year so we can all pay enterprise.
So we have to pay them all.
That's the down payment you're asking for?
Yeah, that's the 65,000. Remember that initial 65,000?
We amended that 65,000 in the last fiscal year.
Right.
And we never paid the
We
65,000.
never paid it yet.
So.
Yeah, it's not like, it should have been paid in the last
It
fiscal year.
should have got
That's why
paid,
we're
but
in.
it didn't get paid.
Right.
But they still need to pay it.
But we still need to pay it. They call for their money.
All in favor? Please note that Supervisor Hutchins stepped up. All opposed? Ayes have it.
All right, that's all I have. Looking forward to a nice positive year, board.
Sheriff, did you get the CIT training? Did y'all get together on that with the?
Yes, we did get together on that, and I think they're going next week. Everybody's going over next week to start that training to work on it.
As y'all remember, we got a crisis stabilization unit now, and now the sheriff's office deputies in PD are gonna train to help de-escalate and help, address people on site with mental situations. So it's a good hand-to-hand thing.
I can't forget, I gotta remember. I'm like, Tim Howard sent the email because he wanted me to read out the reports. He won't be here today. So can I read that real quick in his place? Tim Howard. Repeat that. He sent the email saying he won't be able to. He always does the reports, compliance reports every month.
Tim Howard with AMR.
Okay.
He emailed, he won't be able to be here today because he's doing some interviews on the road. So she was going to give his report.
Okay, can you do that? On his report, he said that the, compliance report for the month of December, the city 90% compliance. PR response average was 7 minutes and 48 seconds. PR2 response average 9 minutes and 41 seconds. For the county, 87% compliance. The PR response average 14 minutes and 21 seconds. PR2 response average 15 minutes and 59 seconds. And he has a total responses in all of 369. That's on his report.
Thank you. You done with that?
I'm done.
All right, Brad?
Good morning, everyone. I've got a couple of things. First thing on the State Park Road project. There, I need to get a revision to a earlier board order that we received. State aid, the earlier board order was a transfer of 20,000, added additional monies into the project there for some, I believe there was some overrun on some fill material. But state aid has requested that we used a lot of that in the contingency in the project there. But state aid has requested we go back to a 5% contingency, which would add an additional 65,000. And this would be revising the earlier board order from 20,000 to 85,000.
We won't, say that again.
It's all it is putting the contingency money back in the project. And if nothing happens with the project as it goes forward and finishes out, the contingency money would go back into the board's fund for state aid there, but they're just wanting to keep their contingency money within the project there.
Have you forwarded that paperwork to our attorney?
No, I've got the board order right here.
Yeah, you need to get a look at that. I don't know about all this.
What's the date of completion on that project?
And it looks like it's gonna be probably the end of this year, maybe into the spring of the next year. I mean, they're under, working days there, so you'll have rain days, you'll have some days like that, but, it's what we see is sometime, I'd say maybe sometime in the next year, early next year, spring.
From State Park?
Yes.
State Park?
I
Next
think
year's
Mr. Martin said June or something.
Yeah, what I'm
wasn't
saying, you talking about another year out?
he? I thought he said June. I might be wrong, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking that's what he told me.
Yeah, he told us, you know what I'm saying? He said, probably will be, once they get through the winter, he said probably was gonna be somewhere around June to July for the finishing. Now you're saying another year?
No, I may be speaking out of turn. I believe that's what, I was trying to remember what he had said on that. Whatever he said, that's gonna be when, I mean, that's when he's estimating the project to be.
Is they getting in it, when's the last time anybody out there, they doing any work?
They've been doing some work. They poured some concrete, I think the first part of last week out there.
At the box?
Yes,
They still at the box?
yes.
They have any kind of idea about how long before they finish their box and get back to the
I
road
think that was
project?
one of the last concrete pours that they were gonna have on the box there.
I mean, okay.
I mean, they're moving along, they got some, I mean, their percentages are falling a little bit behind, but I think they'll make that up here in the next few months. When they get into some of the, bigger money items.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, it's actually gotta be, it's plenty behind me, cause I know we had some good days and, well, you know about State Park, we get a bunch of calls when we out there, so, you know, I don't know what exactly it is, but I really would hope that they would try to, move forward with their project as, you know, as timely as possible, cause I promise you, I get a plenty calls.
Well, that's what, I mean, I talked to Mr. Marlowe, he was thinking, he was hoping they were further along, but they weren't in a situation where he had to write a letter to them or at that point.
So when did they start this project?
You remember when they started this, it was,
6 months, so.
something like that, I was believing, in last summer sometime.
So what is the problem in it taking from, you said it might be the end of this year or next year?
Well, I mean, I may have been wrong on that, I'll confirm that with Mr. Marlowe. But I mean, it's a working day project, and so you will have some rain days and some delayed days within that number.
I understand all that, but if this project was started 6 months ago, and we talking about, not even this year and next year finishing the project, that just don't add up to me.
I had called him, Mr. Gray, he had mentioned sometime June, July. As a matter of fact, I was with Mr. Gaines or whatever when I had called him, and that's what he had, Mr. Marlowe had mentioned to me on the phone. We were worried about the box and the poles, but I think like you said, they pulled the top of the last thing, they poured this past week or whatever.
Brent, you gonna have to help me with this, extra money you talking about. Could you explain that to me?
In the original project, when they priced it out for state aid, they've got some contingency money in there. And that's kind of reserving some money, so if something happens, they'll have that money in the fund to take care of anything that may come up there. And we went to the previous board order that was kind of correct, we used that contingency money. And state aid has requested that we put that back at a 5% contingency. And so they're wanting us to put in 85,000.
So you got that paperwork for him to look over that state aid?
Yes, I do.
So, I guess what you said, that runover, would that be from the 2-to-1 to the,
Yes.
to the 3-to-1
Yes, that's some of the
slopes and all
previous,
that,
yes.
that money that they was talking about on the design?
Yes, and we ended up using the contingency and needing about 20,000 more. And so we used all that contingency and had 20,000 added. Now they're wanting to add the rest of that and bring up a 5% contingency for the project, which is, that would put it at 65,000.
So y'all requesting that to state aid and they turn around?
No, state aid is telling us what we need to board order for. This is coming from state aid.
So,
and if nothing happens, the money goes back into the fund after the project.
well, you know, I've been here long enough to know if you got money in a project, they'll find a way to use it. So that's what my concerns are when you say, it'll go back. It never goes back because they use it. That's why they put it in there. But my thing is, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of fed up with all these change orders and all this. And this money coming out of state aid, our state aid money?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, we got a lot of projects we got to do and deal with this state aid money. We continue to use money because something ain't right, someone done right from the start, and we continue to go and add. That's less money for something else we gotta do.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got other projects that we gotta do, but if we continue to do this and go at this pace, we don't have no strike money, we don't have no money.
We don't have no money for striping, and striping is important,
Yeah.
because that's some of the things that we wanted to do. And I was gonna ask, and just,
Another concern is the
And I
time
report.
of when this completion
Yeah,
is gonna be
that's-
completed.
That's one of my biggest concerns right there, cause I mean, it's time, I have seen projects that came, I'm talking about major, I mean, you see 3 to 4 sites in Alabama that has been major sites with major work that has been completed. I'm talking about within a month or two, when you got work that's not nearly as close, and I ride out there, because you know how many calls that I get about State Park Road? Once every week, or 2 or 3 every week, and I'm out there, and I honestly don't see any progress. I see they came up, pulled up the asphalt, and strip the road, and I'm getting a lot of calls because even when I ride out there, it might be at the box down there, it's no work going on anywhere but the box, and even when I'm out there, you don't see anybody. That's probably one of the slowest projects that has ever been there, and I'm almost willing to bet you that anybody else could have been working, and we would have been a lot further ahead.
Yeah.
And you know, like I know, we got a little bit of rain, but we have had some great days to work and nobody been there. And it's just been the true fact of the matter. I don't need to put it out another year. I can't do nothing about it because it's contracted out. But, you know, I even you came in, you tried to answer some of my calls, the contractor has come in and give them their number right there. But those people really want to see somebody working. We building money. Not that we don't do anything to stop the project.
Yes.
But we're not gonna give up all the money and ain't gonna get nothing done. You know, I wanna make sure the projects go, but y'all need to get with contractors, state aid, and whoever, and try to make this project move forward.
Yeah, and I mean, if they go past their time, they're gonna be liable with liquidated damages in the project, so.
So how many days they had to finish?
What is it, 220
Yeah,
work, 220 working days, something like that, I'm not.
210 working days.
210 days.
So where are we at the 210 days?
At
How many
the end-
days we got left?
At the end of November, it was 35% of the working days have been, it says 35.46 complete and 54.76% of the time. That's what Jim sent right before Christmas. And that was the end of the
you're
year.
saying they 75, 80 days into it?
It looks like that they've used about over 50% of their work time, but have only shown 35% of their work been complete. That's a concern.
So, I mean, Supervisor Gaines said something, but it's gonna be to the point where, them people got bonds, and we gonna have to start dealing with their bonds if they can't do what they're supposed to do, cause they kinda can't keep operating like we operate right now.
You know, if you had contractors, if everybody was on the same page, nobody worked and got anything done that wants something. But when you got contractors that will come in, we had the regular contractors that we use, they come in and do their work in a timely manner if everything is presented to them. You got under emergency, people come in, if they got everything they need, they get the work done. But here it is right now, if y'all doing y'all part, and state aid, I know state aid went back and checked it 2-to-1, 3-to-1 slopes or whatever, but not everything's in place and ain't getting nothing done. I mean, it's sometimes the Lord's ain't always the best bid. This was showing me, so we just need to try to get this behind us as much as we can. I understand that ain't your fault, so I'm not faulting you for, you can't hold responsibility for the contract. Whatever we need to do, but I sure would appreciate it if y'all try to get in and get them to move.
I'm not taking on
We'll
grant,
talk to them.
but that is our inspector's job and our engineer's job to help hold them their feet to the fire.
Responsible.
Yes.
So that's what we gotta do.
Who's the inspector?
The JKNS provides inspectors.
Let me ask you this, guy. Brett, with state aid requirements, what, you need to look at that paper first, or do we need to go ahead and approve with it being right? You tell me what we suggest, because I don't want to do anything else to slow the project, slower than it's already going.
I don't think it's gonna slow down the project to have you look at the paperwork, is it, Brent?
No, I'm just saying approving. What I'm saying, for them to approve stuff, if we need to approve something, no, what I'm saying, we need to I just wanna do our part if it's legal, so they can, when they get to work, they can go ahead to work. I don't want them to come back and say, well, they didn't improve this. So if you got an opportunity to work, they need to be working.
Well, that's how it is now. They need to be working now whenever they can.
I guess what Warren's asking, if state aid, want that other 65, if they're the one making that recommendation to do the 65,000, whatever additional money, I guess Warren's asking, should they go ahead and make a motion on it now or wait till next board meeting after you look at it or what? I guess that's what Warren's asking.
What I'm saying, I know what he's asking. I'm saying I don't think it would delay the project.
Okay.
One way or the other. I mean, tell me if it would delay the project.
No, it shouldn't, no, I mean, if you wanna look through it, then next, meeting,
Yeah.
bring it back up.
Delay the project.
Okay, that's fine.
And when's their deadline to have that project done? Or do they?
They're working days, I don't know the exact date on what it calculates out to before you get additional days or however that may be there.
I need to make a stronger effort to get rid of that project.
I mean, we're gonna push them, we have been pushing them.
Apparently they're dividing their resources and sending them to other projects, and they're not concentrating on that one. It really needs to get done.
And you know, it's kind of, I mean, you see that, so I mean, you're not as lenient on this end of it of giving any days there. So I mean, it kind of works, it's not working in their favor. So it'd be going slow on this because you won't give them any days or give them the benefit of the doubt
Brent,
on that.
y'all overseeing the project, right?
Yes.
And they already behind on the project, right? But then yet they come in and want $65,000 to be added for contingency on the project that they ain't doing that. I mean, I don't understand it.
I mean, this is just the kind of contingency money that state aid's requesting. We thought that when they did the original board order, we thought we could get away without replacing that contingency, but state aid is saying, yes, you're gonna have to replace it.
So if we approve that additional money, then do you have to come back to us to use it, or y'all just got it to use it?
Yeah, you gotta come back, we gotta come back to use it.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not voting for it.
But we have to put it in there?
You're gonna have to put it in.
So we have no choice about that, but you don't have to prove
I mean,
it. That's right.
That's the part I'm talking about.
All right.
I mean, I guess I'd have to check the state aid on what to do if you didn't put it back in there, or what their stand is on that.
I don't have no problem putting it in there, but, Mr. Attorney, he just said if we put it in there, we ain't necessarily gotta use it.
That's exactly right. Good for any money.
And it gotta come back to the board to get it approved before they can use it.
That's right.
Okay, we, I ain't got a
I think the
problem.
whole idea is,
And you're talking, what, 7% of the overall project having a contingency
Yeah,
being about that
5%.
much?
5%.
5%, okay. Again, that's one thing. The other thing is the time frame of this project. I mean, that
But
kind of concerned us, you know?
I got a question, Attorney. The money that we putting in, this ain't coming out of our state aid fund that we had here. This coming out, is the money coming out of our project, the money that was already allotted for state park?
It was allowed, and then we didn't allocate it, and now he's asking it to be allocated back into.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The money that was set aside for state park, that's the money that's coming out, right?
That's right.
Okay.
No, it's coming out of the fund.
no,
It's coming out of the state aid fund.
that's what he's saying, it's
It's
coming out of state aid funds.
not state park, state
Not
aid
state
park.
State aid funds, not state park funds.
Adams County.
And see,
Okay,
that's what your
that's what I was
question
asking, that's the question.
is.
So it's not coming out of the state park fund?
It's coming out from our state aid fund.
Yes.
Into the state park.
That answer his question is, it could affect other projects that we have on the table if we do this.
It takes away money from your overall state aid budget,
Exactly.
that's correct.
All right, but
And
my question was, I know when they bidded the project, okay, I remember that he was somewhere around 500 something thousand under what it was recommended. It was recommended, most people was right around $2 million to do the project. He was like 1.4 or something I can find in my notes.
Something like that, right?
It was like 1.4, he was way under. So what I'm saying, the money that he asking for can't come out of that money. it's gotta come out of our state aid money that we using now.
Yeah, it would be in addition to the 1.4, 1.5.
So basically what I'm saying, you got 500 or 600,000 left that he didn't bid, that we quite sure that we was gonna have to make up some difference somewhere because you're 500,000 on the bid. So what I'm saying, the money, additional money can't come out of this extra 500 or 600,000, had to come out of our state aid fund because this money was set aside for state park, we can't use it for nothing else.
Yeah, so it's on, we had X amount of money that comes through our state aid.
Okay.
We predicted $2 million for State Park Road.
Yes.
The bid was 1.5, 1.4 million.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you still have your money allocated in your state aid fund.
Yeah. So that's
Now he's saying that we need, and the contingencies we did not include in our State Park Road. You're asking to add more money for contingencies from that money.
That's what I'm asking from that money, not the money that we have state aid, that our other state aid pot. That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's what I was trying to figure
I
out.
wanna ask him, where you getting your money from to do the striping and all that? Same on the same pot?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the same pot of money.
So it's less than that.
That's what I'm trying to get the figure. That's what I'm saying. So, we get so much money in state aid fund, right? Okay, what about the 600,000, 500,000 that was less bid, and it's still in our state aid fund?
Yes.
That's what I'm asking. And it's in the same state aid fund.
It should be.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
So if, say we got it's a $2 million project and it was bidded for 1.5, okay? Then all of a sudden, we seen some other stuff that we needed to be done with that extra additional money that they had left over. Pretty much what he was gonna use some of that money to stripe and do whatever because we had it left over. Now what he's saying, he wanna go back and use some of that same money for contingency.
Yeah.
So that's the same pot of money.
We understand. That's what I was trying to make sure. Yeah, I wanted to make sure. But you know what I'm saying, there's a difference. I'm looking at the price, you got 500,000 left over, plus whatever we get, and then you have, it's like 85,000. So we understand that each one's at the table. If we got some state aid projects, we'll use some. I just want to make sure and clarify where that money coming from, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that when each supervisor, if you or Supervisor Hudson Wilson or Milton see something in there, that we can do an equal share and everybody will have that without being used up one place. So I yield the floor.
At the end of the day, Supervisor Gaines and everybody else, when two people bid on a project, one of them is 2 million, the other one is 1.9, and then we got somebody with a low bid. Then that's a red flag why they got a low bid, because they gonna come back in the end and want additional money to make up for the low bid. It always happen like that.
That's the contingency that they want
Yeah.
to use.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's what it is. So sometimes it's not best to always pick the lowest bid,
Yeah.
because that's what's gonna happen when you know that project cannot be done with that amount of money.
Yeah.
All right. Scott, you need this, you wanna look through this?
We're gonna go ahead and vote on that
Yeah.
but if they want the money, they have to come back to us to get it, right?
Yeah.
But we can put the money.
Yeah.
That's the most right though.
You got it?
Did we pay?
Was it a motion?
I don't remember.
Okay, that was,
Well,
I thought that was a discussion.
All right, when you start the project, you got the price of the project plus a contingency. Throughout the process of that project, you do CCR, which are change orders. And you approve change orders, that contingency goes down. So what state aid does is they come in and say, hey, the contingency that we had originally is almost used up. Let's add some more money to the project through another board order, which is what's being done now. That new money, the 65 that you are talking about, he doesn't have to come back to the board to use that money.
You say he does, I figured that once we make that motion, he does not have to
I just
come
want to
back.
clarify that before you
Yeah.
vote on something.
Yeah.
That money goes back into another contingency for that project for more CCRs to be used in that project. So I just want to clarify that.
This is 85,000 too.
This will be correcting the last board order of 20, moving up from 20 up to 85.
If we did a change over for 20,000.
Yeah, this would be revising that board order.
So that's the 20 and the 65 combined for the 85?
Yes. The 20 from the original and then the 65 more for 85.
So if we already added the money, now if we voting on something, we should be putting in 65 instead of 65 instead of 85.
Yeah, let's just defer it.
Yeah, we're gonna defer that until we get, some clarification.
There was no motion.
There was no motion.
All right.
We just gonna defer it till Scott take a look at it and we'll make some kind of decision on next meeting.
All right.
All right, do you have the change order on Main Street?
Yes. All right, the other is, I've got a, for Main Street. When I came at the last meeting, I had some unverified, I had to verify some quantities, and I said that this project was gonna be a total of $369,000, a little bit over that. And I did verify the quantities, and I need to revise what I asked for before. I need an additional $10,000 for a total job for Main Street to be $379,563.56 for total Main Street.
379 what?
$379,563.56.
That's the number.
What is the
This was,
additional 10,000 for?
I was unsure on some removal of pipe and some borrowed material and and some seeding and fertilize and mulching that was in the project. And I just hadn't verified those numbers when I came to you last time. There, so I'm asking government to change my original, what I'd asked for last time, to increase that and revise that change order.
When we finished up at the last meeting, what that bill, 66,000 something with the change orders and whatever?
Yes, and then I
Docket went on the thing to get paid, wasn't that?
Yes, that, we put a pay request in for
66,650.
Yes, yes, and then with this change, I would be submitting another pay request in here for additional $9,837.96, but there's some retainage taken out of that, which would push that above $10,000. It'd be the difference of what I'd asked for before.
So you're saying you're asking now for 10,000?
Yes, this is what I would want to revise, yes, what I asked for last time, and this would complete, this would be the final,
This is the final, the 10,000?
yes, this would be the final, this would be everything in the project. The total amount of
Change
project.
orders, the
Yes.
last time we went through
It's
the change
10
order, I
cents
said it was
difference, 10
66.
cents difference between my number and his number of what I presented for request for payment for that when, the one that we've been discussing about. It's just 10 cents difference in it. Actually, we're 10 cents higher than him.
And this,
He had some questions about some quantities, then we finally got that resolved. and now everything matches within 10 cents. So it's not extra, anything extra than what was already presented to the board for payment.
I know there was an inspection done about 2 weeks ago.
Final.
Final inspection. Right, that was the final inspection, okay? So why after a final inspection, you're coming back asking for another $10,000?
It was just some quantities in there that I had verified, and I wanted to make sure we had everything there, and there wasn't a mistake in what we had done or what Mike had done.
There's nothing in there.
Kilo is properly, they have not changed their quantities or whatever. He just had to verify their quantities that they asked for.
And
in the
there was
final
some
inspection.
unverified quantities in there when I came last time. At that time, I couldn't ask for that.
So that is complete.
That is complete. We've got retainage left on the project, but we're working to complete the punch list, and well, at that time, we'll inspect it again, make sure everything's done, and then we'll release retainage and go forward from there.
How much retainage you have?
How much is retained, Rob?
How much is your retainage?
18, 19,000, something like that.
Yeah, about 18,600 something.
So you asking today for another $9,800?
$10,000. Yeah, 10,000, and then you take the retainage off that, and I'm putting in a pay request to Camo for about, for $9,837.96.
So you said we taking this $10,000 from the retainage?
Yeah, some of the 5% of the 10,000 was taken out for retainage, and so the payment to the contractor would be $9,800, a little bit above that. And then when they go through and we'll finish finalize everything, then we'd pay the retainage in a final estimate. And then everything would be closed out.
Once the punch list is done, and that's when you want to pay the retainage?
That's when we would pay the retainage and
then
the maintenance.
Thank you. Question, did you or did you not say that you was gonna, out of some of this 10,000 you requesting, you're gonna use some of the retainage? Is that what I heard, or that's not what I heard?
Yeah, when it comes out, I mean, when
That's what I heard.
it's we hold 5% back, no matter what, we're holding 5% for the retainage. And we've done that throughout the job, every pay request we're holding.
I heard you say that, but then I was hearing something else different, but that's what I heard you say. That's why I asked you what was gonna be the final list, because I heard you say, well, out of this request that we here, got $9,830.46 that you request payment for. So I'm writing it down, then I heard, that's why I asked you what's the total. You said $18,600 something. You said some of the money was gonna be taken out of the retainage. Did I not hear that? That's what I thought. When you said request 10,000, if it was gonna be something taken out of the 18,000, how much? That's what I'm just trying to get to a total price. So when they finish their job, I either get a clear communication. If we don't give them $10,000 a day and we gonna owe them 18,000 when the contract is done, or are you gonna deduct some of this 10,000 a day so I can get a clear number, so when you come back, well, I know what we need to be
Here's
paid.
the pay request is right here if you want to look at it. It's got retainage on it.
But he's asking for additional $10,000.
Besides the retaining fee.
Yeah,
That's what
before
I'm
the
trying to get straight.
He also
Where's the 10 gonna come from?
wrong.
Where's the 10 gonna come from?
And see, that's what the question I asked him, retained.
Oh, no.
See, that's why I was asking, was it coming out the retainer, and he said yes.
Where's the 10 coming from, Brett? The county got to pay the 10?
It's on the 10,000 in there, but you thought we were gonna come under $10,000. Is that what you're saying?
No, I had some quantities that I had verified, and so this one came with, we were thinking the project was.
So I guess what they're asking, I guess what I'm confused on, the $10,000 was already in the project.
Yes.
Was it in the project, so it was nothing extra?
So they're not having to come up with extra $10,000 out of county, not, it's already in the project on the original.
Okay, that's
I mean, okay, wait a minute, where is it then? Because he said he's asking for an additional $10,000. So where is the $10,000 in the project? Because when I asked him, was it coming out of retainage, he told me yes. Then that means that if it come out of retainage, that's $8,000 left in retainage. So that was not true what you said when you said yes. So if it's $10,000, then we don't have to come out with our general funds. Where is this $10,000 in the project? It's an additional $10,000 that we got to come up with. Right?
Yes, but it was in
The only items on Main Street that were added, when I say added, and we discussed this at one of the board meetings, the box, when we got down to the box and we got the old pipe out and we made our tie-in in, it had some issues. It was some cracking and spider webbing and this and that. So we formed up and poured additional concrete around it to support it so that there wouldn't be any issues with that. That was number one. Number two, up under the air conditioning pads, up at the building, we put in some shoring, and then there was already a wormhole that was going up underneath all of that. I mean, it was like 6 foot deep under there or better. So we put some shoring in on the front and the back side of it, and then we filled that whole hole up with flowable fill until it come out the top. So that was number two. And number three was the downspouts. The downspouts were, after the rock and the dirt and everything was brought up, the actual downspouts that were on the building, where the rock and everything was at, I think it was what, Robbie, 4 or 5 of them, 5 of them?
Just 5 of them, y'all added that roll pipe to it.
We cut them off, got them up above the rock, and then we added roll pipe, the big, some 8-inch roll pipe, and brought it down, way down the rock, and then we put rock around those, and then grouted around that rock to hold them in place so they wouldn't flip-flop around everywhere. And that's the only 3 things that was added, quote unquote, to the job. And those were like $8,000 for those 3 items. The rest of everything else was in the original quantities that were bid.
So the original bid, it should run over $8,000 is what you said.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So it's running over $8,000. So that
Yes,
is an
ma'am.
additional.
Yes, ma'am, because on the grout for that site was originally, I think it was 90 cubic yards of grout, but we only used 80 cubic yards of grout. So there was a savings there, but everything else stayed the same. Nothing changed.
So if it's $8,000 that is running over, where's the 10 coming from?
They must be.
The 10 still in the original. That's all in there together. All that's in there together.
And that's saying the job is $400,000, the job's gonna be a $408,000 job. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So where did 8,000 come from?
Sorry.
He said it was the original $400,000.
I'm just using that number.
No, he just using that as an arbitrary.
What I'm
thing.
saying is he did 369 or 379 is what he said. So you could add, just say 380, so the job should be $388,000 total.
So what was the bid
For
before?
the additional work he
That's what I'm
did.
saying, is it 379, 563?
No,
Is
it's
that correct?
369.
Is that what the bid was?
369 and it's 379.
Okay, so the bid was 369, so it's went up $10,000 plus it's went up $8,000 change order. Am I hearing it correct?
Well, it didn't go up 10,000. The 10,000 was in the original. The 10,000, it's only, out of that 10,000, the 8,000 is in that 10,000.
I understand
okay?
Yeah.
So it's only went up to 8,000, but you gotta also remember that I give up almost $31,000 with the dirt issue that we resolved. So the board has a savings, the net savings of the 31 minus the 8. So y'all are saving what, $26,000, $24,000, $23,000? I'll get it right in a minute. And I haven't asked for like anything that was above and beyond what the original quantities that we did were. The only thing that was asked for was the items that come up that were quote unquote unforeseen, or like the downspouts is kind of like out of sight, out of mind thing, but if we hadn't done it, and we left it like it is, right now, it'd be washed out behind them.
And I understand that. I understand. I'm not in any way trying not to pay you for your additional work that you did.
Correct.
Because I understand that your additional work, if you had not done the work that you did, the project wouldn't hold up. I understand that you leave a void and fix what you fix, and you got a void here, and the rain comes, that void is gonna void whatever you got in front of this.
Right.
I understand what you did, I've been over there to the project, but that's not what I'm trying to do. Numbers keep coming around. When you come back over here, once we get you paid, I wanna know what we gonna have to pay. I wanna find a number, which I heard it, I got it clear now for what you was doing. But what confused me is two different things you said. One thing was said that requesting $10,000 that was gonna come out of the retainage fee.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it was just the wording.
The wording.
What you're trying to say is I'm coming back for 10.
But yeah.
Or I'm submitting a pay request for the 10 after the final verification of the quantities and but it's the pay estimates for 9 because 5% comes out of that 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I think that's where the mess up was, or miscommunication.
Yes,
so that's what he was trying to convey, that the request is for 9. I'm really asking for 10. Or we're submitting for 10, but the pay request is going to be 9, and the difference between the two goes into the 18,000 number. That's the retainage that still will be there until it's finally signed off by everybody.
And I think I totally understand what you're saying now.
Right.
But how I see it, and another supervisor see the same thing. I just want to be clear. When you come back here, is it gonna be a difference between your retainers when everything is through? You gonna be expecting $18,600 instead of from at first it's saying whether 10,000 a part of the money coming out of the retainer, it's gonna be the difference of getting this straight is you gonna receive another 9,000 or 18,000, and that's why I'm trying to get straight.
It'll be the 18.
Okay, then that's why we were getting straight because of. I know this, if 9 come out of 18, you ain't got the 9 left. You can't come back and put no 18, ain't gonna be here. So let's get that straight, and now you can, if they're gonna approve it, I understand you did the work, I heard what you said, I've been by and looked at it. Not trying to pay you for your work, but we just wanna get a clear statement, because this money, and this taxpayers' money, you know what I'm saying? If it was my personal money, and we got a misunderstanding, if it's 18,000 up there, and you tell me, say, well, I'm gonna do this job, I got 9,000 out of it. You can't come back and get 18, you're gonna be 9 short. So we better get it straight on the front end.
But his numbers, it's on this pay estimate now. Like I said, if you look at the final number that's on it.
I got it.
And then it takes your retainage and blah, blah, blah out.
I got it.
His number and our number are within 10 cents of each other.
I got you.
So we're all good. And with that being said, the numbers that I sent Miss Brandy and you with the breakdowns of everything of what was spent on Main Street or 10 cents difference. I just sent it to you how it was broke down and how we got paid for it. So that y'all can get your money from, or work out whatever arrangement y'all have with the city.
We need a motion.
You heard the request of Brant, JKS, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any unready? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
On the punch list for those,
Motion passed.
we haven't got a quote unquote formal punch list, but the stuff that we wrote down as we were going through, Main Street's been done, Cemetery Road's been done, where the grouting, those few spots we found that there were some holes. I had them patch those and spray them with orange paint so that they're identified. And if when we go back out there, if you want to walk down there, you can say, well, there was one there, and you can see it was packed. The end of Cemetery Road, where it washed at the toe wall, that's been done. And then, Brookview, we went back over there and worked and fixed that bottom again down there in the side over here. And we just need to put some more blanket and seed down on it.
No, did see I counted it. Mr. President, I would like to ask, Grant and
Yes.
you, between you and, Mr. Grant, whatever contract y'all have, whatever y'all get that give one to, a final contract to our road man. Cause he's gonna be the one that we look for to give us an answer. And I don't want y'all to have a different contract than he have, because what he said is gonna be different, y'all getting y'all money. So I would appreciate if y'all get together and all three of y'all have the same contract.
Well,
And Route 1 is right in, that day, we were prepared to ride wherever they rode after, even great, that was Brookview, they rode it, but, like I said before that, he finalized, the county will ride that with the supervisor that's involved in those EWPs. And that was, that they had at that site before we done.
yeah, it was us, or came out of JKNS and the NRCS went ahead and done a preliminary so that NRCS or JKNS seen anything that needed to be addressed. We went ahead and done that. Like I said, we just took notes at those sites that we needed to be done. And everything's been done with the exception of two things, and they'll be done this week. I just want the board to understand that we're being proactive and we're taking, we don't just get the punch list and then just wait around and twiddle our fingers. We work on it as soon as, matter of fact, I'm sending them the day after we done our walkthrough. Right? They started on it the next day.
Well, the only problem, I ain't gonna say it's a problem, but keep on continuing to do this over and over and over. I just feel when it's a walkthrough done, the county need to have a representative at the table where you won't have to go back and do a walkthrough again, and then the county, you do your correction, now the county point out some stuff that they feel need to be done. Now you got to go back and do that all over again. I just feel like Camo, JKNS, and soil conservation or whoever, and the county need to have our representative at the table when the walkthrough is done to where we won't have to do this all over again. That's just my opinion. get
We have
it.
bids,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Group two.
Hey, Brent figured to ask that question. We took it under advisement, group 2 and 3, we opened bids that day. He was gonna figure out
what we need, what do we need to do with group 2 and group 3 at this point?
Well, we had, I was still confused with some of those bids. Hayden didn't, I guess he kind of responded back to me on it. And, you know, I don't know, I will sit, we can meet with Robbie and I'll talk with Robbie about it and then get back.
Okay.
President Middleton,
Yes, ma'am.
have we reviewed these bids? Has the board reviewed the bids? Well, let the board review the bids also before we even, you know.
That's the process, right?
Yeah, the board needs to review these bids. We haven't even seen any bids. I just don't wanna be voting on bids that I have not seen. Give us a chance to review these bids also.
Why are we doing all this different stuff now? We had a process in place where everything come before this board. Why are we going different from what we've been doing?
Well, I scheduled the receiving bids and I thought y'all were meeting the 2nd, the 4th, 21st of December.
That's what you done, Brent?
Yes. And we did not, but we went ahead and received bids and we're taking them under advisement and we can review through.
Well, for future references, we meet one time in December unless it's an emergency. We don't meet but one meeting in December, so we're not gonna meet 2 or 3 days before Christmas. So the road department, all of them be gone on vacation.
Yeah.
There you have it.
And if you would have told us that you scheduled those bid openings during that time, maybe we would have called a call meeting for that, but I think we said numerous of times in here, in November and the beginning of December that we would only be having one meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, he did tell Robbie and me, you were there, weren't you, Ron?
Yeah, and you and him and
And I forwarded all the bids to you. And they're kind of not clear about some of them.
What's next?
Brant, you done?
Yes, I'm done, unless there's any other questions.
All right, no, I think I'm good.
All right, thank you.
tomorrow morning. No, thank you. Mr. Stewart with MDOT, I spoke with him this morning before the meeting, emailed him the Liberty Road address to that barn. He's gonna send all the signs, the poster reflectors and all that are coming in. We're gonna do from, city limits of Liberty Road to, Jeanette Crossing, Cranfield Road on new signage. So, that project's, going on very well, so he's gonna be here next week or the next to mark all the spots where the signs need to be, and then Tommy will meet with him and then we'll get the sign posted up and
That was gonna be one of my questions.
so I just want to give y'all an update on that.
Why you ask that, Bob, let me ask you this question, because that was one of my reports I was gonna ask on the signage, but while you read it, I can go ahead and ask my second question. What about striping for that area, because, Liberty Road is very poor lit, and, it needs some striping.
Some of that, and I think you should look at Liberty Road on those sections over there.
And there's
That was just.
accidents out there.
Okay, I guess it was, IMS on that part there on Liberty Road. And,
There's a section of local road that needs to be looked at also, Rob.
Had a guy this morning turn his 2 weeks notice in, January 13th, 2021 will be his last, 2022 will be his last day. His name is Kevin Williams. I'd like to ask the board to give me permission to advertise to replace him.
So moved.
A motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Wilson. All in favor? All opposed?
Do you have his letter?
Right here.
Yes, ma'am.
You need it.
4-year road plan, which we've already discussed it, that, you know, y'all need to write it or whatever, then the next board meeting, I will present the 4-year road plan to the board to adopt it.
Yeah.
Got that.
Yeah, that plan has to be approved by the first February meeting, so let's get it. If you haven't heard from Robbie about it, you know, let's make sure we're.
Yeah, get with me, whatever, you know, y'all see, so whatever you, and like I said, I'll have to put together, I'll present it to the board at the next board meeting. I'll have a copy for each one of y'all. Robbins Lake, got one.
Yeah, I mean, last time we had
Meeting.
emergency, had declared an emergency, had a contract that's ready to go on it. It's a similar amendment that we did with MLK, same contractor and all that. The contractor signed it, and I think they've started work on it.
Showed up this morning, he called me this morning around 8 o'clock and said they showed up down there and they were gonna start rubbing the backside of that pipe out, getting it out. He's met with all utilities, he's gonna be able to work it with traffic. We will not have to put anybody up or do anything. He will be able to keep traffic open on that road as he installs those pipes and gets that done. We did move our dozer track as far as counties down there. We're gonna get started hauling dirt, working the back slopes, and while both of us is there, getting it all tied together and get that slope put on the back of it. And I will get with JKS and the work contractor on it and getting them to come inspect, because they've got to sign off, you know, for inspection too. And I'll let Mr. Marlowe know that we're underway with that project.
So
And it's something that needs to be done. It's 2 years old as we speak today.
So we do need to approve, we kind of approved it preliminarily on an emergency basis. You gotta come back and approve the addendum, and it's a fixed price of what?
You got that. $258 or something, wasn't it?
I'm trying to pull it up.
Ain't that all? Yeah, $258.
$258,500.
Can I get a motion?
Second.
A motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any on readiness? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
That's all I have. Unless y'all have anything for me this morning. Thank you.
I'm just back because of the paper that I had passed over with.
Yeah, we do have a corrected copy here from Charles Clemens, new hire, hourly rate $18, annual rate $37,440. It was just a difference, I believe, of $100-something dollars.
Right.
Annual rate. You heard the request of the sheriff.
So
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Wilson. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
And the other thing is, I sent all of you all, I had a deputy go out to 213, so y'all just know what's actually on that property. He took pictures of it, and I sent all you all pictures of a trail and a house on that property to your phone, so y'all can make an informed decision.
Yeah, I do have a question. On last meeting that we was talking about, where are we at with the price on the project now?
I will get with Karen on that and get with you today, because I know they had got it. Her mom passed away right in the middle of all that, and so I'll get with you, once I leave here and go meet with them today.
I mean, it's not a thing, just if you would, I mean,
No,
we
won't.
working on, we don't want to drop the ball, so if you will have it by the next board meeting, that'll be fine.
Hey, we need it just as bad as you want it. So,
I've got a question about this camera. Are they like a gray box? Have you seen them?
no, they not a great box. They just cameras. They sort of look like a little dome. They look like little dome lights.
But
And
it's
they
not like a
rotate.
gray box with
No, no.
red, blue, and red light on it?
No.
Okay.
Now, if you talking about those, you probably seen those out of town somewhere.
Yeah.
Up in Vicksburg, they have those. Those are like cyber police. They have people who put those up portable in different places, so they can watch those shopping centers and
So
things like
these were
that.
permanently mounted.
Oh yeah, they mounted, but you also got eyes on those 24/7 too. That's something Vicksburg did.
Any other department heads? Public comments? All right, on to the table. Supervisor Gray?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Mr. Slogan, do we usually pay, workman's comp agent fee? I ain't been seeing that. A workman's comp agent fee, we pay a workman's comp agent fee.
Once a year.
We usually do that?
Once a year.
They got. First of all, Miss County Administrator, what about the time blocks?
We're in the process of working on it. I got an email, as a matter of fact, last week from, the only problem that we're really having with it right now is that we pay, we're trying to figure out a way to fix it, because we pay prior, a day that, before the time. And that's what the part is, our cutoff days, our payroll cutoff days from Wednesday to Tuesdays. And that's what I was just trying to tell you about the last time. For this system to adjust, we have to pay a day in advance, and that's what they're working on. Because our timesheets go in on a Monday, but the cutoff day is Tuesday. So we pay everybody in advance for that Tuesday. In order to
Why would that be a problem?
That's a problem, because we got to put the time in a day, another day that's not even on the cutoff day for the time clocks. And that's what I was trying to explain it the last time, that to start this process, they're gonna be a day short.
Okay, let me, President.
You understand what I'm
I
saying?
know what you're saying, but we also make adjustments. If, say, a person put in their time, once they do their time sheet, and they go in, and one day is already on there that they have not recorded anyway.
Correct.
So still dealing with time sheets, once we they put in their time, you still can go back and make an adjustment.
That's right.
So you can still use the time clock, and then the next time, if you need to make adjustment manually, the bookkeeping, it can be done.
I understand that, but I'm just saying we would definitely 7 minutes or is paying in advance, doing time in advance for time before that time.
I mean, we doing it anyway. We paying time.
We doing it, but we doing it manually.
Right, but see, that's what I'm saying. You can also do it time clock wise and then go back manually and make the adjustments.
I understand exactly what you're saying. Sometimes you would tell the 7 minutes for is that one day is a problem.
I just, we ain't the only one got time clock, so I know this, so we the only one get paid on the schedule that we get paid on?
Well, I don't know about the counties there, I can double check, you know, they may have a different cutoff date from our cutoff date, that's our cutoff date from Wednesday to Tuesday.
But I like what Supervisor Hutchins just said, you can manually go back and change that. As long as it's part of it, and then somebody can just come to the board or whatever and say, well, we had to do whatever. The main thing is getting that time clock.
I'm just
Okay.
telling you what they told me.
Okay, I'm gonna bring this back to the board. Broadmoor Utilities requesting funding, from the, recovery funds, and, we need to decide, if we're gonna create a grant or whatever the case may be to, they submitted something to us for Broadmoor Utilities. I think that's within the guidelines of the, recovery money that we can, do a grant for Broadmoor Utilities. Back what Supervisor Gaines was saying about the cameras, even though it happened in the city, I think one of them happened in the county. You know, we got people, cars getting burnt up, houses on fire, whatever the case may be. And people just ain't gonna come forward like they should. And people talking about putting up rewards, going through Crime Stoppers or whatever the case may be. But I think if we, especially in these areas that we really need these cameras, if these cameras in these areas, I think we'll see a big difference in people wanting to commit crimes like they doing. I've been on this since I've been over here, and this 2022, and I just think we need to check again with the water work, with that bill we getting for that jail. Almost $3,000 a month water bill, man. That's just unheard of. You almost got to turn your water on, just leave it running all day long, every day for a month to get a bill like that. I think we need to get the water, somebody to check over there, because I just don't believe we're using that much water.
Yeah.
So they need to check that.
They probably got some leaks somewhere that we probably
Last
didn't
time
have.
it was a leak, they found a leak of laundry that was washing out of laundry. So it was a leak last time, and it may be again. It's that we won't know unless somebody brings it to our attention that the water bill is high up on the ground.
I'm just looking at all other buildings, and I know, we use a lot of water over there, but for to say we use almost $3,000 worth of water, that's a lot of water. Next, we need to decide what we're gonna do, with the insurance, whether we gonna, check with other people or whatever the case may be. We have a short window to deal with this insurance deal, so if we're gonna keep it like it is, that's fine, and we're gonna, allow other people to submit us something or whatever. Now, I'm different with this COVID-19. Yeah, I'm people talking about you can pray about it, whatever the case may be, but Lord give you 5 cents, and you gotta do a little more than pray. You still got to get vaccinated, you got to have sanitizer, keep your hands clean, you gotta do all that other stuff along with praying. Cause just praying alone ain't gonna get it, cause what scares me, not only in this community and other communities, people know that they sick and won't wear a mask and come up in your face knowing that they sick. That's crazy. And that's how a lot of people is getting sick, and we having, I know everybody talking about the economy, but we having a lot of big events going on. I mean, they just started, and to me, that's a super spreader. I just hope everybody try to be safe during this winter months, because the winter months is to me is the worst time, because everybody's on the inside and they not on the outside. Brad is not here, but
right now.
Oh man, you looking so sharp, I ain't know that was you. What about the safe room there? Cause it's gonna get pretty cold. Cause it was in the 20s something last night. I think it's supposed to be in the 20s tonight. What about
we have people that call. I've told my staff it's gonna be cold, so we're gonna turn the heat on just in case somebody need to come down at night. I know it's gonna be cold down in the 20s, so we're preparing for it. We didn't want to just broadcast it yet, but it's gonna pretty much be on an individual basis. If somebody, I think we had a call the other night about a couple of sick things, that is, we tried to give this couple of help, but they don't wanna take the help. And I told them, we just can't leave to be able to know before them like that. We offered to try to take them to Vicksburg, to the shelter, but they don't wanna go. They just wanna stay around Natchez area and just bomb out people. So, you know, like I said, we've had Catholic Church to try to help them get hotel rooms, you know, for a couple of days. But after that, certain ones don't wanna leave the area. So we just have to be cognizant if one of the repeated offenders just want a place to stay, but they don't want to get the help. So we are prepared for any event. You know, we get 3 or 4 people that may need to just get there during the night. We just have to lock everything up. You know, but we just need the main area open in the bathroom. So, and plus, like I said, we got cameras over there, so it'll be great with that if the board want to do that. So.
Well, Brad, night, man, I mean, it got cold, man. I was in Baton Rouge and came back, it must have had rain here, and my whole car was iced up.
Yep.
And it's gonna be the same way tonight, and I would hate to see that somebody is homeless out there in that kind of weather without us taking the necessary precautions to try to help them. I just wanna be on board that Adams County did everything they could do to put something in place for to help somebody that didn't have nowhere to go.
Okay, well, I just need a recommendation from the board to use as a warming shelter. You guys can authorize that.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Hutchins. All in favor? All opposed?
Okay, thanks.
And Scott,
How long will that be in place?
Like during the cold temperatures, like just the night, it's just like they stay there during the nights, but in the mornings they leave.
Yeah, but I'm saying, how long is that in effect?
well, we have two days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2
well,
days.
that's what I'm saying. I mean,
And then
Friday
next-
night, it's gonna get down to 25.
Yeah, if y'all wanna just do consecutive, if degrees get under 32 or something like that, y'all can put that in there and we'll make it happen.
They can implement it whenever it gets cold.
Yeah,
So if you wanna amend that
What
motion.
degree would you recommend?
but 32 is freezing, anything, you know,
32 then.
yeah.
So that motion amended.
Yeah, we'll put it in there.
Okay,
Kind of, we'll leave it, you know, not precisely 32, but if it's bad weather, you know, we can open up to say,
I mean, next
something
Monday
like
is
that.
saying rain and 32 degrees. So that's a recipe for.
Scott,
I put with cold weather or severe that life is, you know,
Scott, did we get our numbers back with the census to see would we have to redistrict?
and I gotta confess my own, I think the numbers are back out there, but I gotta confess my own ignorance as to how to proceed. I know that other jurisdictions would get some sort of consultant to look the numbers and make a recommendation. That's what the county did, you know, the last time the
The
census
best thing
came
to
out.
do is get the numbers and let us look at them first. Well, I mean,
And I wasn't telling you to do anything. I'm saying I don't know. I've never had a census come in my time. This is the first
so
time for me too.
what procedures we need to do, go back to find out our numbers? Everybody else got their numbers.
Didn't someone come by here and meet with us about this?
Yeah. They're supposed to be on the census website. You know,
Could you get a copy of them? And
I'll get a copy of all the census numbers for next meeting. We can decide what we want to do first. And I don't have any suggestions. I'm just saying,
yeah,
you know,
I just want-
you actually know more than me.
I just want to look at the numbers. And then if we can call somebody that deviate from a certain percentage and we need to redistrict, then we need to call somebody and hire somebody. But I just want to look at the numbers first. I don't even know how to deal with this situation. This is a situation we've been dealing with as a county and a city for a while. This mental health is getting worse. It's not getting no better, man. I mean, I don't know about y'all here, but I got people standing in the middle of the street. I mean, it's terrible. And they don't even move for cars, man. If you're on Martin Luther King, I'm at my car while somebody in the middle of the street, just in the middle of the streets and cars coming. They got a problem. So, what do we do, man? I mean, ain't nowhere for them to go.
No, and that's a huge problem from all walks of life, all geographics. You could have as much money as one of the most wealthiest persons in town has a family member that's not able to, function like that, and they don't know what to do. And it is a huge problem for this area and for most of the state of Mississippi. That's why the federal government came in and has sued the state, saying y'all aren't doing enough to fix mental health. So, it's a big problem. What we've done so far, we did finally get a crisis stabilization unit up. It's supposed to be up as of December, and we have our law enforcement getting trained on how to make that first point of contact. And now, so they have a placement for them, and they have kind of people that are trained to address it. So that's what we're doing, but there's plenty of other things that community-based mental health we're just lacking in, and that's a problem statewide. We continue to do things the way we've been doing as a state, and expecting different results.
I just don't want people to think that it ain't on Adams County Board of Supervisors, Sheriff Department, and Brandon, and everybody else mind that we try to figure out something to deal with mental health, because it's bad.
And Supervisor Gray, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a major problem for us. I just watched a guy slap a guy coming out of the store the other day who had mental health issues. And one thing that I'd love to see from the state, period, is something long-term, just like you have assisted housing, assisted living for the elderly. I wish they had something that somebody would create, an assisted living, house or community for the mentally ill, because we are seeing the repeat rotation on these people. And then even with the new thing that we have, the ones that are violent or committed criminal acts, they still can't go there either. Now, it's helping, but it needs to be a lot more done. So if the state gonna start talking, let's start talking about putting something together long-term wise where these people can live. Just like they do the special needs kids and the elderly and everybody else, we need something like that for the mentally ill.
There's a gap at this moment among the other mental issues between someone that is not criminally insane, because there's a huge standard to do, but cannot be addressed civilly because they're violent. And there's a gap into how you treat those, and there's no answer.
There's no answer for it there.
Well, I think we have a conference coming up. I don't know if we're gonna be able to attend before us. I haven't heard that they canceled the conference for the supervisors. So that's gonna be my main thing, is to bring it to the rest of the 81 counties, because I know they got to be dealing with the same thing. And maybe if each county do a resolution and send it to all of our representatives up there, maybe it'll make a difference. I ain't saying it will, but if one thing about a problem, if 82 counties got the same problem, then somebody needs to come up with a solution.
82 counties got the same problem. The funding mechanism that they do, they overspend pretty much in the state. All goes into the mental health hospital. You're paying $490 a night per patient there. If you're doing community-based treatment, you're paying $100 a night for the treatment. And it actually is proven to be more, this is why the federal government says you gotta do it, because it's more effective to do community-based treatment. That state hospital treatment center is not effective. That's why the federal government said you can't do that. You gotta switch to it. And the state, basically had to get sued by the Department of Justice to get them to even take a look at a task force of how to make changes. So it's a big thing, and I don't know why it's taking so long. We've talked about this since you came in to office about the mental health. And you testified in the lawsuit. Change is supposed to come, but it never seems to come. Meanwhile, people need help, don't get any help, and it just stays the same.
My thing is, like the Supervisor Gray said, maybe we can all get together in all counties, 82 counties, and do a resolution and make that suggestion as at the entire conference in January, because legislation has cut mental health. So when you don't have the funding for mental health, it's hard to get people where they need to be, in the hospitals or wherever they need to be. When you cut funding for mental health, and maybe we need to push the idea of them putting some more funds into mental health?
Mental health, by our Mississippi Constitution, is a state problem. The state is charged with fixing that, just like the county is charged with paying the criminal defense. That's the Constitution mandates we do. The state is charged with mental health, taking care of them. So they need to address it.
There's, my sympathy goes out to the Bagnum, Jones, Johnson, Nelson, Williams, Luss, Wilkins, Trask, Blanton, Marshall, Cheney, Manor, Mayfield, Thomas, and Van Tree families. I called out about 12, 13 names, and half of them live in District 4. So there's a lot of people leaving here. And last, Colleen sent us this letter a while back about the expired term for Miss George Johnson. And I've been looking and I know we don't want to keep appointing the same people, but at this particular time, the best candidate I can find and that is willing to do this is Dante Ware. So I'm gonna make a recommendation that we appoint Dante Ware to fill the unexpired terms of Ms. George Johnson.
So,
Got a motion by Supervisor Grice,
second by
second by Supervisor Hutchins. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
I hate to keep doing that, but he's a good young man. He is a Colin graduate, and I think he'll make the best decisions for Colin. And last, I just wanna wish everybody a happy and prosperous New Year, and do all you can to keep yourself safe. Thank you.
Supervisor Hutchins.
I don't know if you mentioned the Knight's family, did you, Supervisor Gray? You know,
Miss
they had
Dorothy
this night,
Knight.
Miss Dorothy Knight, you know, we want to send our condolences out to that family also.
She is in
She's,
District
yeah,
4 too.
yeah, she is. You know, I just want to live as long as she lived. She lived to see all her grandkids get old. She lived to see the grandkids' kids get old, and plus great-great-grandkids. And when you can live that long, that's a blessing.
And I don't think she buried none of her kids.
And she ain't buried none of her kids.
She got about 10 or 11.
That's right. So I hope I can do that.
That's a blessing.
Yeah, that's a blessing. That's really a blessing. I did bring up some of the things, we've already taken care of, the inside, the signage with Liberty Road and also Prentifield. But I also, Scott, I'm gonna get with you, Cadet is not here now. I do have some minutes properties that need to be taken care of, so I'm gonna get with you on those properties. This year board, we're coming into a new year, and we got some projects that needs to be taken care of, so we need to kind of get together and try to decide with the ARP money, what projects that we'll be dealing with, and try to get that, at least say what projects we'll be putting out there, because we need to be shovel ready when those just come about, when we want to start spending the money. So I just feel like we all need to get together and start to decide on some of the projects we need to use this money for. And that's all I have.
Supervisor Wilson.
Okay, on the coal in, boy, I've got 2 people that I was talking to about filling that vacancy, and I'll have it by next meeting.
Want me to flip a coin for you?
Well, they gotta say they wanna do it.
Oh, I got it.
Okay, Scott, we always bring this up about speed bumps. They gotta have a petition or whatever. Then now the residents are saying, well, can we, if we buy a speed bump, portable speed bump, or what, can they put it up? And I'm like, well, I don't think so, but but the main thing is they have got to get a petition.
There's X amount of residents have to sign off on it, and then the engineer makes sure that it's safe. Those are your 2 steps. Because it could be half of them that want to put a speed bump. The other half don't want it.
This particular area has the children that are getting their driver's license, and now it's becoming a problem. They're doing 60 miles an hour down there.
It has to be 75% of the residents.
Is that 75% of the residents beyond the speed bump?
No, 75% of the residents that
On the
live
street.
on the street.
Even if their house is before?
What you mean?
That is a good
It
question.
fits one way in and one way out.
It got to be on the street. No,
They
that
don't
is
know-
one
They
way in
don't
and
know
one
where
way
the
out.
speed bump's going until all that's been done, and the engineer goes out and looks and he tells his recommendation where it's going, so you don't know if it's going here, here, or here. It depends on curves and how fast they get up to speed, so it's the neighborhood or that road, is what it is.
We're gonna be the
Well,
neighborhood.
this is down in the forest. Oh, so they're getting kind of antsy down there. Okay, Tubman Circle, 141 Tubman Circle, we cut the grass. The roof's falling in on the house. Rodents running everywhere apparently.
Okay.
Well, what's our next step? Do we tear the house down?
On 141.
You know which one I'm talking about?
We can, but, oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, add a tree on, we have to cut the tree.
Right.
Yeah, if you make a finding that's dilapidated and menace to
Take
the
track of
public
it,
health.
tear it down.
I mean, I think it caught fire and then they went and put it out. I'm like, why? It's like, it wouldn't hurt a thing. So,
Probably they had some practice, so let it burn it down.
or, yeah, do a control burn might be the simplest thing to do. Okay, and I got a call from a lady on, Westwood Road, Scott, and you apparently had told her to call me, which that's okay. You
I
know
did
where
not
I'm
tell
talking.
to tell you, I said that you need to reach out and talk to your supervisor about this.
Okay, well, I don't think there's anything we can actually do there. I looked at the tree in question, it is dying, and it's kind of her tree and the other person's tree, and, I mean, the problem with that whole neighborhood down there is that the trees are bigger than the neighborhood. People can't afford to take down a tree that costs $3,000 for removing the property. So,
And Kevin, I didn't talk to any lady, some guy at AutoZone asked me about
Okay,
what
well,
to
it
do
was
on
his
it.
mom
And I said,
that
you need to start
actually
with
called.
your supervisor, and I said, and I didn't,
no, I don't care about that. I'll talk to anybody. We'll do it, we'll try to fix anything we can. I got some ideas on that one. I need to find out who owns the property beside it or what the status is of the property beside it, because that house looks terrible. It's 1202, I think, Westwood, or,
yeah, we'll send them a note.
but we'll figure out who that is. And I understand that it used to be owned by a former police officer, so I really need to, and I think Mr. Middleton is probably taking care of that for me now. But, other than that, I don't have anything other than please get vaccinated. I've had my booster shot and my wife did too, and she still got sick, but it wasn't much. It was like a sinus infection and she's fine. But that completes my report.
Supervisor Gaines.
I guess, a couple of them has been, already taken care of. I wanted to ask a question about the redistricting and, yes, Supervisor Gray said that. I know they said we'll have, I think, until September. So we need to just, if we do have to redistrict, we definitely need to get on top of it, as soon as possible. I had a couple, calls, Robert, and I actually been out there, Broadmoor Drive, you probably know, coming off the hill where they dug up it. It actually is a danger. As soon as that's right before you come off the hill, they dug the road up, coming in Broadmoor, and they're coming over in the other lane to keep going through it, and people coming off the hill in Broadmoor. And I guess we need to look at that and see what we need to do, if possible. If
That's, like I said, you know about it, well, everybody does, that's something Rockmore did, they dug it up, find, fixed the patch, it done whatever, they go back, put 6 in, they tried to reach out to Mr. Robert Hensley. I tried to reach out, I spoke with him, man, not trying, I spoke with him twice, asked him, please give him a call, I know they told you the same thing. And he's so busy that, he hadn't got back with them, so they don't have anybody to do the patches, for asphalt patches. They do put the 6 in it like we were asking now. They are doing that, they're trying to work with the county to get it back in the shape it was before they cut it. But I don't know if they're gonna have to deal with Blaine or whatever, but you know what I'm saying, they're gonna have to get with somebody, but they have tried to reach out to Mr. Hensley and, ask me if I run into him, and I have, and I spoke with him and asked him to call him, and the lady keeps telling me they hadn't, so I don't know what the county wants to do.
I know it's a hazard, and one thing you can't ever get back life. And I know sometimes we might just, and that's a small section, I ain't from here to there. And I even thought about maybe if to save somebody's life if we would have to put a little asphalt. We know we don't have an asphalt machine, but you know the little asphalt y'all do that you can cover it and probably save a life.
Let me ask you a question, Supervisor Gaines.
Yeah.
Now, the way, I know we don't have that many problem like that, but the way the city and the waterworks do things, they get 5 or 6 of them holes where when the guy come out there to fix them, he just ain't fixing one hole.
He got them men out there. They have been trying to contact him. Yeah, and I've been there, Robert been there. They've been trying to contact Mr. Henry, but he's not, and I mean, they have been, they tried to have him, Robert did try to contact him.
He the only one do that kind of work?
He the only one in this area.
I guess I'm gonna tell them if they.
But he was trying to find, he was the only one that would go and patch instead of doing the road, you know what I'm saying, a whole road like blind. But they have been for the last few months trying to get it done, and they want nobody to do it.
Been long on that.
Yeah, it's been long on that, so. Yeah. All right, and we can check that. And the only other thing is, well, 2 things. Scott 102 Southmore Drive, we'll get with that. That was another minute property we had talked about. Got another call on it. And that rodeo arena that we was over there looking at, before we even rented, I know people talking about renting. I didn't get the pictures of it, but the pictures of it that I'll get, and Robert probably been through that, he can attest. Before you talking about renting anything else, I mean, it's gonna be some work need to be fixed. I mean, you actually got going in the gates, both gates and actually fell off for the open arena up. One of the poles just kind of rotting out from being there a period of time. And I hear people already talking about February renting, and I don't think that's a major fix, but we at least need to look at it. Supposed to be guy with Janet, but I'll have to go take some pictures and I can send y'all some pictures of what it looks like. That's just, and other than that, just it kind of piggyback on what everybody say, go get your cold shot, stay safe, and other than that, Happy New Year to the ones that hadn't said in. Happy New Year to, I hear the floor, Mr. President.
I got a question about your arena. Was that the arena we had discussed making some improvements to in that bond?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought so. Attorney Slover?
I just have an item to be determined. Oh, there was, last meeting, we had a question about pay order. It is not a new, after talking with the judge and talking with Angie, this is with that drug tester thing.
Yeah.
Remember back a month ago? It's $2,400 annually, not monthly. That's within the budget, so that should be okay.
Yes.
That young man.
Yeah, we
Yes.
found that out.
Yeah, we need a motion to pay.
So
Second.
Motion and second.
Greg Gaines.
Got a motion.
A motion by Supervisor Gaines, second
Right.
by,
Greg.
it's a motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines. All in favor? All opposed? And stepped out.
And I have an item to be determined.
Session clerk?
A couple items. We received the next wave of the Bellwood levy funds, and it is required that we have a new account open. We reached out to Concordia Bank, and this has been the course for all new accounts. They require that there be a board motion that we have the authority to open that account. I'll be the sole signatory, but then Angie will have access as well as Janae and Samaje.
And the new contract.
And whoever the new comptroller is, yes. So we just need to have that approved and spread across the minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion?
Brandon,
Yes,
did you say how many people have what's the name?
they just will have viewing access and the.
Viewing access?
Yes.
Oh,
So I'll be the
okay.
only signatory and they have, yes.
I didn't hear that right. I thought that many people
That's
don't
it.
sign.
All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
We need to have Verna Johnson's certificate of attendance for her fall justice court conference spread across the minutes.
Heard the request.
So moved.
A motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it.
Also need to have, we're doing a little more scanning for our deed records, we're trying to chip away at it slowly. Every time we do that, we have to amend, it's the same contract, we just have to check some extra boxes and send it on to the company. And Scott just recommended that we have that spread across the minutes, please.
Heard the request.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Wilson. All in favor? Ayes have it.
And the last item I have is our tax redemption settlement for November. I need to have that spread across the minutes, please.
Request moved.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Wilson. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
That's all I have, thank you.
Getting hungry, man.
Me too.
Paige.
I don't have anything.
Paige, before we move on, do you need this to make it part of the record for the NAACP, or you already have that information?
Yeah, I think you can give that to her.
Just in case.
Put that in
Yeah,
there.
I think I have it in my folder, but I'll take that.
I mean, that copy was over there.
Okay.
That's the copy was over there.
Yeah, I have one in my folder, but I'll take this in case.
If you don't need to be there.
County Administrator.
Oh, lots of stuff.
Like, I'm asking the board to amend the audit for the Chancery Court that has some funds from the CARES Act to purchase some necessary supplies, humidifiers, whatever, but it's reimbursable. So I need to amend the revenue, part of the budget and then the expense also, because it's gonna wash.
What are you doing at it?
Because you
So moved.
always have questions.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, can we get a second?
The amount,
It's like
the
$7.
amount is $7,774.02.
Okay, can I ask a question? What we voting on?
The amended for the supplies for the Chancery Court is reimbursable. They had some funds left for CARES Act, so they bought the supplies. for
It's the same thing, yeah, circuit clerks dealing with AOC and all that.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay,
So did some judge, rule that they gonna extend that, or something dealing with the courts?
The deadline was at the end of the year. The judges believe that there'll be another bite at the apple for other stuff. As far as I know, I haven't heard they extended on that.
I heard some judge on the news in Jackson, some Supreme Court judge, or some did that.
The two judges I talked to about it both anticipate that they're gonna have more money made available, but not that the current was extended. Chief Justice issues emergency order regarding COVID-19.
Yeah, is that new?
Yeah, that would be the Chief Justice if they extended their, you know,
Let me
I
say.
think they postponed jury trials and all this stuff. I thought you were talking about the AOC funds.
Go ahead.
Ms. King?
Okay, I received 3 bids from the, to purchase the front end loader for the road. Motor grader for the road department. And, the Delta Bank percentage is 2.675%, Bancourt South 2.59%, and Trustmark Bank is 2.99. So the lowest bidder was Bancourt South for $2.59. But I would also like to add that they have a lot of extra stipulations, even though they submit bids, they have other requirements and stuff now. So just because Bancourt submitted the lowest bid doesn't mean that we can meet all the guidelines they're asking for.
You said we don't have to meet all the guidelines that they're asking for.
Even though banks submit bids now, they have other requirements. And so just because they submit 2.59, you may not meet.
They got other fees.
Other
The other
requirements.
fees could run it up or whatever.
Not
No,
fees.
not the fees, the requirements, guidelines.
Then we may not be approved by the loan.
Right.
Okay, but shouldn't we take that advisement until we
So,
can find out what
what-
the requirements, will we meet the requirements?
You only need two written bids to accept it anyway.
Right.
No, I mean, we won't be able to get the paperwork signed if that's the case, basically.
Right, so we have to.
So this isn't, just because you accept the bid doesn't bind us to anything.
Okay.
Angie's basically gonna try to get the paperwork submitted over to us, and then if it never comes, it never comes. Goes to another one.
So do we need a motion to
Yeah.
accept that bid?
Budget request, county administrator.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Hutchins, can I have a second? Second by Supervisor Gaines, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Supervisor Wilson stepped out.
I'm Kevin.
Yes, ma'am.
We also received from CCA another modification to the contract, and this modification is they have approved to hire 2 employees, nurse practitioners, at a rate of $88 an hour, and you pay $184,000 a year. And it just needs to be spread across the minutes.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, can I get a second? Second by Supervisor Gaines, all in favor?
$84,000.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, we're back at, this is the public defender's office, and I need the board's approval to amend the budget, $37,500 for the employee. That you all approved last board meeting, but we hadn't approved to amend the budget.
What employee?
I thought they weren't adding more.
What employee are you talking about?
The same,
I thought the numbers were staying the same.
Who's this for?
Budget defender.
They didn't,
Yeah, we did, because we was gonna be in contempt of court if we did not. Because we got a court order to do it. That new person that's on that, was on the docket. We didn't approve it. So she's saying that we need to amend the budget for the, payment for the salary.
you got to amend the budget.
I know, so, I mean, we approved it, we got to amend it, we said we would come back and amend the budget. So moved.
What are the amendment for?
$37,500.
You heard the request, county administrator?
I got a motion, I made a motion.
Motion by Supervisor Hutchins, can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Gaines, all in favor?
I got a question. The only question I have, is it up to $3,000?
It is.
So where is it 37?
Because, we had additional $4,500 that was spent out for the Altamore case. They represented it. It's already been paid.
They appointed somebody that wasn't among the
Yeah.
now 7 public defenders. Basically, everyone's represented him or had a client, defendants against him, and they were conflicted out, so you can only find one person and hire a second chair or whatever. That's my assumption, I don't think that's the only reason that you would pay somebody outside of the.
All in favor? All opposed?
Next.
Ayes have it.
I did.
Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Gaines.
Another thing on, Watkins and Eager, we had already, discussed it in supervisor radio, bring it back to the board for the monthly fees. This is a new contract from Watkins and Eager, they charge $80,000 a month. And, began in January of '22, and extended through September. But they're increasing it to $2,000 more for October, November, and December after our fiscal year.
So we got plenty of time.
Yeah, we got-
We got plenty to do that in January, you got from now till August.
No, because it's January
From
22,
January
started
22.
January 22.
That's
Which is
right.
now.
Right.
Extended to September with the same $8,000, then after $8,000, they're asking for another two for the
Yeah.
remaining months of October, November, and December.
Okay.
But we gotta approve it because we don't have to approve that, but we need to decide what we're gonna do, either not approve them at all or approve something.
I'm not saying not approve, but why you got to approve it in January? And why you got to approve it in January and you already going through the fiscal year?
They're on the calendar year from, so their year ended December of 21.
Okay.
This starting for this new year, January.
Okay.
So you know, contracts for a signed prior.
We need to.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
So, Scott, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Worst case scenario, if we don't approve it, would they be on a month-to-month, what? We approve it and they're on a month-to-month.
I have to look at the agreement to see. but-
So you haven't even looked at the agreement and we finna approve something that you haven't even looked at?
I mean,
That's
Okay,
it.
I'm gonna wait
I'm not
till,
asking you to.
I'm gonna wait till the next board meeting.
Our attorney need to look at that.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought maybe everybody had looked at it because.
I looked at it.
Yeah, I looked at it, but the attorney had to,
Well,
yes,
the city,
Yeah, they approved it. They are. What they say, other did.
Oh, yeah. Well, they work, so you know, we just.
They approved, okay. I ain't even approved my, whatever we need to look at, approve my raise.
We'll wait till the next meeting, 12.
Let me put it this way, do you want it to be a month-to-month basis or not? If you want it to be month-to-month, then
No.
it's not approving it.
Let's
We'll
wait.
put that in the
Let's
contract.
just wait till next week and let you read the contract.
Well, I'm just, if he had questions on it before I read it, we can go ahead and tell him, put it on a month-to-month basis. Most attorneys,
I'll be honest with you, the only problem I have right now is increasing it. I have a problem with that right now. That's the only problem I have right now. I think they're doing a good job, but I don't think we need to be increasing it right now because we got some other stuff we gotta look at in case, I'm gonna be honest with you, in case this fall through with the Morgantown deal, and we have to do a bond issue, where do you think the money gonna come from to pay it? You can't pay them and pay a bond issue too? You're being real.
Let's just.
like I said, I need to know what to negotiate.
Okay, let me ask you this question, Scott. We're not approving it today, so that means their work stops right now. They can't do anything more work on it. So can we approve it for a month, say of January?
I mean.
No, not even through September, I'll say to February,
You can, but, I mean, we gonna keep them.
month to month.
The only problem anybody have was not that they ain't doing their job. The problem is the increase. That's what I was trying to get at. The increase won't affect until the last 3 months. So if you ain't had no problem with dealing with it, everything but the increase, which I don't have a problem paying for what they're doing, even though there's a few more projects on the city that have got a problem. But I mean, the stuff just hadn't came out, so they have got a lot of money for the National Adams County. But I mean, you can still approve that we got a portion about that to keep them getting paid, to keep them working. I mean, we talking about fighting Morgantown Road issue. I hear that all the time. I would definitely wouldn't want them to stop fighting Morgantown Road issue and lose no money. And we might have to do a bond. If that'll save us from doing a bond as a county, we need to do whatever we need to do to keep them from.
I think we're gonna do exactly what you said until our legal person say that he hasn't even reviewed what they asked.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I'm saying wait till next minute, but if you don't have no problem, I ain't got no problem with it.
But
He need to review it.
let me ask you this question, he still needs to review the contract, but if we do it, if we don't accept the increase, when they have to go back and do another contract saying that we're gonna keep the $8,000 up until December 31st, do they have to redo a contract, or we just,
When that time comes, then we'll deal with it because.
but if we accept this contract, it's already in the contract, we can't wait until September and deal with that.
Okay, Scott, and we have a month that we can dissolve the contract and it's part of the contract.
Yes, 30 days.
30 days.
I read it.
As a city sign?
Yeah.
It's in the second.
Yeah.
Either party may terminate this arrangement with 30 days written notice. All expenses
Right there.
incurred through the termination date will be due and payable within 30 days of that date.
Yeah.
So we can wait till hours or something and figure out that.
Yeah, you can go ahead and sign it because this is through December 31st.
Yeah.
But you get 30 days.
Either party may terminate this arrangement with 30 days of written notice.
The 30 days notice.
You heard the request, County Administrator.
So you're just gonna have to make sure that in September, those 30 days, you're gonna have to do it before September for the next 3 months.
We'll know way before
In
September.
July.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay. I would like to swear across the minutes, the county disclosure submission from Butler Snow. It is once a year, so it just need to be sworn.
Second.
Okay.
You got to carry that motion.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Hutchins. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
This is last thing, and the reason why I'm bringing this up because this invoices, I'm passing you on the copy concerning the layers and hangers submission. The total amount of these expenditures are $1,855,349.48. That's the cost for everything. The county's portion is $231,918.69. The reason why I'm bringing this up because in order for this to be submitted to FEMA, all invoices has to be paid by February the 3rd. So the payment's gonna have to be approved. In order for us to pay, we got to February the 3rd to pay it. I picked this day because, our power process, then have to approve it, then we have to sign off on it, and by that time, it's gonna be too late. If we don't submit these payments by February the 3rd, we don't have a chance at all of being reimbursed. We're gonna have to pay the bill.
So we need to have it docketed for mid-January, is what you're saying.
We have to do something because we don't want to have a chance of being refunded if we don't have these payments made by February.
So you need a motion?
Yes, you need a motion.
Yeah, we need the invoices gonna have to be approved.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, can you say? Second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion?
Yeah, the question is, have the work been performed?
I don't,
They did the work?
We still have a few questions with, FEMA. And Scott, you were there, I don't know if y'all got it resolved, you and Meg on the, material that went down.
Yeah, my understanding is we got answered what we needed to, or at least we had a path to get it answered. We hired a consultant. We hired a consultant who said this work was done. Robbie and Meg, or Robbie at least, you're out there seeing that they were doing some work on it as well.
Yeah.
So,
But it was just a few questions they had about where some of the material went, how it was disposed of, and things. Scott was.
they had two different consultants telling you it was picked up and work was done. Robbie said the work was picked up and done. Angie and Scott did not go out there and look at it.
I'm not sure what it looked like from the beginning, so I don't
That's
know.
why we got him. I
Right.
mean, if he said it was done, that's what we gotta go by, right?
It's got done, they done cleaned up, so they got,
I have two questions, and I have one question and one concern. Who is supposed to sign off on these invoices? Because I got an email saying that Susie approved to pay but Susan doesn't work for Adams County.
Okay, so the method that we have them done, Susie has to approve all our invoices because that's what we hired her to do. And then at that point, you know, we got somebody that we hired, a professional, saying this is to be paid.
Okay.
And it, you know, doesn't matter at that point.
Just didn't, that was my concern because I can't see. If you say Susan can approve it, Susan need to sign off on these invoices.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's who signs off on the invoices once you get prior approval
Okay.
from Susie. So someone else can sign off on it because they're basing their approval off of Susie's approval.
Okay. Well, who was gonna sign off on it? So it has to be signed off before it goes to accounts payable.
So who's supposed to sign
I
off
mean,
on it?
if we have approved it, if we approve it, and Susie submits the invoices, should the president sign off on it?
Right.
The president signs off on it.
Okay.
It's approval from the board.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got the confirmation from Susan already?
I got the confirmation from Meg that Susan approved.
So did
It's in the same
Susie,
email chain.
Isn't it? Okay.
Susie sent an email saying that everything was okay?
Yes, because Susie didn't want to sign off on it. Nate said, no, you got to. That's how that whole thing, that's why it is.
Okay.
Why we hire Susie then if she wanna get paid and don't wanna be held accountable for going back and seeing what the work was done?
I know a lot of people don't want to work out. That's why I'm making.
Who is Susie?
Susan from Midville, Arkansas, she went over here and put that sheet.
And now she ain't already
She
found.
didn't want to sign off, and she kept saying she wasn't, he said, no, you were hired to do this.
Supervisor Gray, we had a conversation with Susie, Megan, and myself, had a conversation, said that she will approve these invoices.
Okay, cause I've been,
And that's how it
say pay everybody but Susie.
But can she approve these
We're not paying anyone
invoices?
until she approves it, then it's her bucks on the line.
Okay, can she approve these invoices and sign off on them?
Yes.
Has that been done?
Yes.
Okay,
She sent the email.
an email,
Approved to pay.
So we're good to go.
so that's binding.
That's what we're relying on to pay these invoices.
Okay.
That was the point.
That's right.
But I just wanted
Attach that email, you need to attach that email to it.
to, and give it to,
Yes.
That's the other.
okay.
That's the other.
I'm gonna do that.
You done?
And that's
Yeah.
all that I
We
have.
got a motion, we got a
Motion.
motion, oh, carry the motion. Instead of, a motion, Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor.
All in favor? All opposed?
This one here.
Ayes have it. You done, Ms. Kenny?
I'm done.
Alright, in the folder here, I have an invoice from the Adams County Chamber of Commerce for the New Year's fireworks. I believe that's a budget item every year. I just need approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. I have two new hires for, do you do these by department?
Yeah.
All right, two new hires for telecommunicator. One is Janet Green, hourly rate $12 an hour, annual rate $24,960. Second is Aaron Smith, new hire, hourly rate $12, annual rate $24,960. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Gaines. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Next is a new hire for janitorial. Celestine Strouder, that's hourly rate $12, annual rate $24,960. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Next, I have a request for travel for Eva Givens. Date is January 17th, January 21st, to the coast. Not sure. annual election seminar and certificate training.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Gray. All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. This is a invoice from the Adams County Chamber, Natchez Adams County Chamber of Commerce for the annual gala. 10 seats at the, this is table spot, I believe, for $1,000. Is this a budgeted item?
What's the date? No, that's all we got approved.
I'll have a date. I'll have a date. It just says the deadline is December 20th. I believe it's in February. I don't know that.
And the deadline is December 20th,
It is.
so have we passed the deadline?
We
We
have.
passed the deadline.
I'm sure.
So
We're seeing that it's an invoice, I think.
Yeah. So
Got a motion by Supervisor Hutchins, can I get a second? Second by Supervisor Gray, all in favor? Ayes have it. This is a notice for February 9th, the MDOT Quality Asphalt Conference. If anybody's interested in going with this.
that's everyone anyway.
The next is the, we'll save these for next time, this is the road. On my list, I just want to talk about the bond issue that we had discussed. Including the recreation complex, digitizing our records, the arena, parks and roads. I think, the engineering survey has been done, so I just want to follow up on that and bring it back up in the next meeting. On the day that we had the county employee appreciation luncheon, Robbie and I went down to J.M. Jones Lumber Company. There was a water leak underneath the main road going down to J.M. Jones Lumber Company. Robbie, that leak had been going on for how long?
It's been going on since, the ice storm, February the 19th, I think, and they had a documented Dave Jones did taking pictures, watching it. It was a 2-inch water main and blew out, it undermined the road. When we got there, well, I called the waterworks on the way down, they were headed down there too. I already met the evening before. So, when me and Wes met, waterworks didn't want to take any responsibility, but they ended up taking it and saying it was, a problem. So they pumped full of field under the road to try to stabilize the road. I hadn't heard from Dave Jones, hadn't heard from the water company, to see if they've heard from him, but, I guess he just wouldn't give an update that, it was affected. It is a lot of traffic on that road. It's probably, we can stand there an hour and it's probably 10, 18 wheelers come in and out of that road within an hour. They're busy, so, I don't know, we just, like I said, they got picture documentation, we talked to them, waterworks did for a full field, but, at first they, wanted to say everybody thinks they got a checkbook, like I told him, I said, they think the county got one too. I said, you're telling me, I tell you, why? We're looking, they got evidence, they got the water, it went for 31 days, leaking, so.
There's a very significant void under the road. This is a concrete road, not an asphalt road.
Yeah.
So in your expansion joints, there's a lot of that flexibility there between underneath the substructure.
So,
And, they did come in that afternoon, on global field in, but it is a county road. This doesn't hold, I just want to bring it to the boards because if there's something that has to be done, I think there should be some assistance with it. So I just wanted y'all to know what's going on.
The waterwork have, them as a, customer?
correct.
Okay.
They're on city water.
Okay.
And it was on the south side of the road going down, probably 100 yards before you get to the bottom of the hill, which is where the road ends. And it was so much volume of water, the actual water was going uphill underneath the road. I mean, there's a boy, a grown man could crawl in. It was big. So, again, I just want to bring it to the attention of the board, so that if we do have issues get moving forward, you're aware of it.
Has the road shifted? Any?
And that road's so long, so much traffic, it's hard to tell, but it did have some play in it. When a truck would come over, you would see. But again, it's concrete sections, so I've got pictures, I got videos, they do, Nobby does, so it's all been documented. We'll just see what we have to do moving forward. That concludes my report. We do have an item to be determined, or to get a motion.
So,
Hang on.
Oh,
No, okay.
I had one.
I can see if we want to get the CDC guy.
Yeah, Ricky.
He was going to look at it,
So, good, man.
see if he's good with it.
You heard the request, Mr. Bradford, can I get a motion? Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Hutchins, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
And all that, material that was sold below IP, they called before we got off for Christmas, said maybe we're gonna go sometime in January, February back to court. You know, we went to court one time, the transformers and all that stuff they stole, way up in the money. So it should be coming up, I just wanna let y'all know that, sometime January, February, maybe, I don't know. That's gonna happen, is what they say.
The auditor who did last year's or 2019 audit is taking a position with a different firm, so we're gonna get proposals for our 2020 audit. And that will hopefully have next board meeting, depending on if we can get auditors to give us a proposal.
One other thing, did we make a decision on what we want to do about comptroller?
I feel like we should be, I don't think we have enough applications, I think we should re-advertise. Not enough, that's what I'm saying, we don't have enough applications and enough qualified people in here. And I feel like we should re-advertise.
You good with that?
Huh?
You good?
Where did this go out to, locally or where?
She said she sent it out to the Democrat here and Indeed. So I told her to send it to MAS, and need to go out to MAS too, because they send it to all counties, which is good. MAS puts it out there, big too.
So we did a motion by that.
How long you gonna hold your re-advertising over?
2 weeks, 2 weeks, is 2 weeks okay with you?
Okay, so we'll just re-advertise 2 weeks. No.
Open up today.
All right, so I need a
And
motion
it should go to, MAS.
for items to be determined. Motion by Supervisor Gray, can I get a second? Second by Supervisor Hutchins, all in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.